Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of our story. If you like this what if story and want to see part 2, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by 𝗵𝗃𝗲 on Wattpad. Now let's start. Main 4 rest narrator 𝗵𝗃𝗲 explained to the class about an old vigilante known as the Punisher. Denki noted that he had died 2 years ago, to which 𝗵𝗃𝗲 confirmed that he had indeed killed many villains worldwide, bringing peace to various countries. While some viewed him as a monster, others saw him as a hero who provided hope. Shoka asked 𝗵𝗃𝗲 for his opinion on the Punisher. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 recounted his 2 encounters with him. The first was after the Punisher had intervened to save a woman and her daughter from danger, comforting them and assuring them everything was all right. The second encounter was when the Punisher had dealt with an abusive stepfather, ensuring the children were safe and happy before they returned home. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 acknowledged that while he did not agree with the Punisher's methods, many of those he saved considered him a hero for giving them a second chance at life. Iida asserted that the Punisher should not be labeled a hero. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 explained that those saved by him saw him differently, as he had made a significant impact on their lives. Izuku and Tsuyu inquired about the Punisher's sidekick, the superior Spider-Man. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 shared that some believed he was the Punisher's son, while others thought he was a boy the Punisher had rescued and raised. He recalled a time when the superior Spider-Man had helped save a school bus full of children, bringing joy to their faces. Izumi asked about the superior Spider-Man's fate, and 𝗵𝗃𝗲 admitted he did not know, speculating that he might still be alive, waiting for something. Izuku expressed his determination to confront Kingpin, and just then, the bell rang, signaling the end of class. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 informed the students that they would continue the discussion on Monday and wished them a fun weekend. He then asked Izuku to stay behind for a moment. Once the classroom emptied, 𝗵𝗃𝗲 informed Izuku that his mother wanted him to come for dinner. He had told her he would ask, but he didn't want to raise her hopes. Izuku apologized, explaining that he couldn't go home because it was too painful. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 expressed his understanding, sharing that he too had experienced neglect from his parents and offered his full support to Izuku. Izuku thanked 𝗵𝗃𝗲 for his understanding. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 then offered advice, not as a teacher but as someone who had faced similar struggles. He encouraged Izuku not to dwell on the past, as it could lead to more pain. He shared his own experience of not forgiving his parents, who were now gone, and emphasized that forgiveness was about starting anew rather than forgetting. Izuku promised to try to forgive, but he felt uncomfortable calling 𝗵𝗃𝗲 Dad. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 reassured him that it was okay and that he would wait to earn that title. Izuku expressed gratitude, feeling that 𝗵𝗃𝗲 was the only one who truly understood his struggles. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 encouraged him to go spend time with his friends, knowing he wanted to be with them. As Izuku walked toward the dorms, he contemplated whether he should forgive his parents, feeling uncertain and fearful of getting hurt again. Suddenly, he heard his second phone ringing from a secret compartment in his backpack. He retrieved it and answered. Miles informed Izuku that they had found clues regarding their search. Izuku quickly agreed to meet up. Miles mentioned he would send the coordinates for Izuku's new apartment and asked if he was bringing Eri along. Izuku decided it was too dangerous for her and planned to leave a note for Mirio to take care of her. Miles confirmed he had a mission and would see Izuku the next day. After hanging up, Izuku felt a surge of determination, vowing to confront Kingpin. He returned to the dorms, ignoring the cheerful gathering of his classmates. Izumi approached him, asking if their father had mentioned dinner with their mother, suggesting it might be a good idea. Izuku, feeling overwhelmed, told her to leave him alone, causing her to tremble in fear. The classmates observed the tension and wondered why Izuku seemed to harbor such animosity toward his sister and mother, but they refrained from prying into the family situation. Katsumi and Shoka comforted Izumi, sensing the strain in their relationships. Once in his room, Izuku placed his backpack down and approached his closet. He uncovered some loose floorboards and retrieved a case, placing it on his bed. After entering a code, he revealed a red and black suit. As he began to change, a voice echoed in the room, reminding him that he could not escape who he was. The silhouette warned him that no matter how he tried to hide behind different roles, he he would always be seen as a monster. Izuku, donning his mask, acknowledged the truth but declared he was no longer that monster. He retrieved something from his closet and placed it on the bed, writing 2 notes, one for his desk and another with a stuffed animal he had kept. He reflected on his time at UA, feeling it had been enjoyable while it lasted. Opening a portal, he glanced back at his room, smiling beneath his mask as he resolved to ensure Kingpin would pay for his actions. Stepping through the portal, he found himself in a living room where he was immediately embraced by 4 familiar faces. Gwen, MJ, Rogue, and Felicia welcomed him back, expressing their concern over his recent battle with Overhaul. Felicia noted that Izuku was always surrounded by people who were eager to help him. Izuku acknowledged that they had found him, and while Miles had the information, he was currently on a mission. Izuku expressed his determination, clenching his fist, stating that he wouldn't let him get away this time. Gwen and Rogue were concerned about Izuku's use of his powers, but he felt he had no choice if he wanted to become stronger. MJ brought up his past habits, to which Izuku revealed he had been sober for 4 months, thanks to his daughter Eri, who had inspired him to change. As the scene shifted, the class of 1A was enjoying a leisurely breakfast on a Saturday, engaging in light conversation. Ochako inquired about Dekairu's whereabouts, while Ida and Kirishima confirmed they hadn't seen him. Denki recalled how upset he had been the previous night, especially in his conversation with Yagi, and speculated about his anger towards certain classmates and his mother. Katsuki suggested they stop discussing it to avoid trouble, and Shoto agreed. Suddenly, All Might entered the room in his slimmer form, accompanied by Inko and Izumi, both wearing worried expressions. Izumi revealed they were upset because Izuku hadn't come for dinner, and Inko expressed her longing to invite him to family therapy to start healing their relationship. The trio decided to check on him, with All Might volunteering to approach Izuku, believing he would be more receptive to him. They made their way to Izuku's room, and All Might knocked on the door, hoping to talk. He urged Izuku to consider hearing out his mother's suggestion about family therapy. Izumi pleaded for her brother to respond, acknowledging their past mistakes and expressing a longing to rebuild their bond. Inko, despite All Might's warning, opened the door using her quirk, only to find the room empty. Izumi's cry of despair echoed through the hall, drawing the attention of their classmates. Katsuki and Shoto rushed to comfort Izumi, who lamented that her brother had run away again. Momo insisted on entering the room, where she discovered a note on the desk. She began to read it aloud, revealing that Izuku had left due to an emergency from his past but would return in 1 to 2 weeks. He asked Momo to ensure no one entered his room and left a special item for Eri, knowing she would be worried about him. Ochako checked the bed and found a plushie of Stitch, Eri's favorite character. As they discussed how to get the plushie to Eri, Inko grew anxious about contacting Izuku, realizing his phone was still in the room. Mineta suggested there might be clues about his whereabouts, prompting Katsumi and Shoka to search through his belongings. Despite All Might's concerns about invading Izuku's privacy, Inko insisted on finding out where he had gone, fearing for his safety. During the search, Shoka discovered a suitcase under the bed. After melting the lock, they opened it to find a collection of CDs, all created by Izuku. The group was surprised to learn he had been making music, and they speculated that the songs might provide insight into his feelings and experiences. Inko expressed her regret for not knowing about her son's talents, while the others debated whether they should listen to the songs without his permission. Ultimately, they decided to seek help from Nizu and the rest of the staff, hoping to locate Izuku and understand what he had been going through. Nizu agreed to the plan, and AM expressed gratitude before hanging up. Unbeknownst to them, Izuku was watching through a video camera, seated and revealing hickeys, bite marks, and lipstick stains across his body. He felt a pair of arms wrap around him and acknowledged the girls who were dressed in his shorts and underwear, all looking at the camera. Rogue mentioned that they had discovered his songs, and Izuku anticipated this moment. Gwen questioned whether he wanted them to know the truth about him, to which Izuku replied that it would eventually come out. MJ asked what he planned to do, and Izuku resolved to get Eri and Koda and never return if they hated him. Felicia reassured him that they wouldn't hate him, and Gwen echoed her sentiment. Izuku remained uncertain, contemplating the truth he would reveal to his mother, Izumi, about Hisashi Midoriya and the reason for their existence. He activated All for One, feeling the weight of the cursed power he wished to reject but knew he needed to protect those he loved. He accepted that if he became a monster, he would endure the hatred for their sake. Meanwhile, in Tartarus, All for One was strapped to a breathing machine, sensing Izuku's awakening. He laughed, anticipating the moment Izuku would embrace the power, believing it would corrupt him and fulfill his dream of reshaping the world. The chapter concluded, leading into the next one. In the following chapter, Izuku sat watching his girlfriends prepare breakfast while checking his bank statement. Felicia inquired about his activities, and he mentioned his recent investment. She expressed excitement about their upcoming shopping trip with Eri. As the door opened, Miles entered, and Izuku greeted him with a hug. He acknowledged Princess Shuri and 𝗵𝗲, who insisted he simply call her Shuri, as they were family. 𝗵𝗲 complimented Izuku on his improving Arabic, and he reciprocated greetings with Storm, who welcomed him back. Izuku explained that he was there because Miles had found Kingpin, though Miles clarified he hadn't directly found him. As they sat down for breakfast, they discussed their experiences at UA, with Izuku mentioning his ongoing conflict with a rival. Shuri shifted the conversation to Eri, whom they all agreed was adorable. Miles expressed concern for her safety, asserting that as the best uncle, he wouldn't allow her to be in danger. Deadpool humorously interjected, suggesting a space adventure. Izuku reflected on his past failures, feeling guilt over a lost friend due to his hesitation to use his quirk. Rogue reassured him that Sir Night-Eye had made his own choices, and Gwen reminded him that he could honor his friend's sacrifice by ensuring Eri had a good life. Izuku considered their words, feeling slightly uplifted. After breakfast, they moved to the living room where Shuri presented a hologram from her tablet. Miles explained that while pursuing Electro, he had overheard a conversation with Sandman about their plans. Izuku noted that they were foolish to believe they could operate solo against powerful foes. Miles listed the villains involved, and Shuri revealed that the rings they possessed contained a chip that could lead them to Kingpin. Izuku realized the implications of this and acknowledged that his father had orchestrated events to force him to use his quirk. Despite the challenges, he vowed to confront any villains standing in his way. Miles suggested targeting Kraven at the Brooklyn Zoo that night, and Izuku agreed, preparing to see his mother before their mission. As Miles left with his girlfriends, Izuku remained on the couch, contemplating the challenges ahead. FO observed his son, Izuku, with a smirk, commenting on his defiance. Izuku, filled with determination, rejected AFO's claim of ownership, asserting that he would not succumb to darkness. He was resolute in his mission to rescue his cousin, Tenko, from AFO's influence. AFO warned him that the path he chose would lead to a loss of humanity, but Izuku remained unfazed, acknowledging the potential consequences of his actions. He understood that he might have to embrace darkness to protect his family, vowing to confront those who threatened them. As Izuku opened his eyes, he noticed his girlfriends nearby, prompting him to question their attire. The scene shifted to Class 1A arriving at the auditorium, where they encountered Class 1B, the staff, and various heroes. Mitsuki confronted the students about their latest escapade, while Katsumi expressed concern over Izuku's recent behavior. Masaru suspected that Katsuki was involved, but Katsuki denied it. The Todoroki siblings discussed the impact of their actions on Izuku, reflecting on how he had saved their mother from despair, yet they had treated him poorly in return. Eri looked around for her father, and Ochako reassured her that he was attending to important matters but would return soon. Tsuyu explained that he had business to handle, but he left Eri a comforting toy to ease her worries. Inko observed the scene with pride, feeling a sense of joy at the thought of Izuku having a daughter. Nizu addressed the gathering, explaining that they were there because one of their students had left without notice. He mentioned the ongoing conflicts involving Izuku and his classmates. Eri excitedly announced that they would be listening to her father's music, revealing that he sang to her at bedtime. The revelation that Koda referred to Izuku as Dad surprised everyone, leading to discussions about their relationships and the dynamics within the group. As they prepared to listen to the music, Yui Kodai approached the suitcase, searching for a song. She stumbled upon an image that caused her concern, prompting 𝗧𝗃𝗃 to inquire about her distress. Yui showed them a picture of a young Izuku, bandaged and in tears. 𝗵𝗃𝗁 and 𝗵𝗃𝗍 quickly shielded the younger student's eyes from the image. Inko and Izumi reacted with shock, questioning the circumstances that led to such injuries. As the song played, a young Izuku was seen sitting in a chair, microphone in hand, ready to share his story. Izuku stood atop a building, contemplating his life. He wondered if he could erase the world in front of him, imagining that perhaps he could laugh, cry, and smile more vividly. Yet, he knew deep down that his heart would still ache. He thought about running away, wishing he could forget everything that had become of him. Despite his desires, he realized he couldn't escape the pain. Even as the distance between him and others seemed to close in, his heart felt like it was breaking. Nizu observed Izuku's turmoil, pondering what had happened to him. Hitoshi explained that Izuku had been bullied, revealing a truth that weighed heavily on them all. Izumi acknowledged Hitoshi's insight, and he expressed his frustration at seeing the others as heroes when they felt more like monsters. Katsumi challenged Hitoshi, but Nizu stepped in, asking Shinsho for more details. Hiroshi suggested a song that could explain everything, prompting the next person to take action. With permission granted, Izuku returned to the rooftop, lamenting his fate. He never asked to be born without a quirk, and the others were shocked to learn of this revelation. Inko questioned how this could be, but Nizu assured her they would get an explanation later. They decided to listen to the song. As the music played, Izuku's thoughts turned darker. He wondered if anyone would notice if he disappeared, if anyone would care enough to chase after him. The imagery shifted to Katsuki holding Izuku while Shoto struck him repeatedly, and Izuku felt like a burden, questioning his worth. Katsumi and Shoka used their quirks on him, treating him as a target, and Izuku cried out in despair. The song continued, echoing his feelings of isolation and longing for acceptance. He recalled moments from his past, like being in the corner during Izumi's birthday celebration, feeling invisible and unworthy. The harsh treatment he received from Katsumi and Shoka weighed heavily on him, and he felt the sting of their actions. As the music reached a crescendo, Izuku stood on the edge of the building, contemplating a final decision. Just as he was about to jump, someone intervened, questioning his actions. The stranger insisted that someone would be sad if he were gone, challenging Izuku's belief that he was alone. The atmosphere shifted as Midnight reacted fiercely, confronting Inko. The others joined in, standing up against the cruelty they had witnessed. Hitoshi reiterated his concerns, and Nizu decided to pause the discussion, granting everyone a day off. All Might acknowledged the severity of the situation, recognizing it as more than mere abuse, it was torture. Aizawa and Nizu agreed to discuss the matter further in private, leaving the staff uneasy. As the chapter concluded, Izuku prepared for a new mission. He donned his suit, feeling a sense of belonging with his mask. Gwen reminded him that they didn't have to go through with it, but Izuku insisted it was necessary for his father's sake. MJ and Rogue expressed their concerns, but Izuku was determined to take on the challenge alone, assuring them that he would handle the situation. MJ expressed the need for Izuku to explain why he hesitated to involve them in darker matters. Izuku promised he would share the truth soon. Four nodded in agreement, while Miles urged Izuku to move forward. As they exited the apartment, they made their way to the zoo, with Izuku swinging through the air alongside Felicia. Deep within his thoughts, he confronted two orbs representing his powers, one blue for one for all and the other red for all for one. Yoichi, a guiding presence in Izuku's mind, questioned his resolve. Izuku affirmed his determination, acknowledging the existence of stronger villains and the necessity of using his abilities. He expressed gratitude for his family, despite the chaos surrounding them. Yoichi reassured him that they were there to support him. As Izuku arrived at the zoo, they approached the lion enclosure, where they encountered Craven. Craven recognized Izuku as the superior Spider-Man and taunted him, revealing his ability to transform animals into humanoid hybrids, a gift from Kingpin. Izuku, feeling the urgency of the situation, demanded Craven surrender his ring, but Craven revealed a bounty on Izuku's head, claiming he would take him in. Izuku refused to back down, stating his intention to take Craven's quirk. In a swift motion he grabbed Craven's face, and they quickly left the scene. Gwen attempted to pursue them, but was intercepted by the humanoid animals, prompting Miles to suggest they fight. Meanwhile, Izuku hurled Craven across the walkway. Craven acknowledged Izuku's newfound strength, questioning whether it stemmed from a sense of justice or revenge. Izuku admitted it was revenge, igniting Craven's interest. The battle escalated as Craven charged at Izuku with claws ready. Izuku skillfully dodged and countered, tossing Craven aside. They grappled on the ground, each trying to gain the upper hand. As they stood, Craven prepared to strike, but Izuku used his web shooters to blind him, delivering a powerful uppercut that sent Craven crashing to the ground. Craven attempted to retaliate, but Izuku evaded the attack and landed on his feet. The two exchanged words, with Izuku questioning Craven's alliance with Kingpin, who exploited animals. Craven revealed his intention to keep Izuku's skin after defeating him. Izuku charged forward, unleashing a speed attack that sent Craven crashing into the bars of the enclosure. Seizing the moment, Izuku grabbed Craven by the neck and dismantled his animal transformation quirk, absorbing its power. Craven reverted to his original form, acknowledging his defeat. Izuku claimed the ring, but Craven warned him that Kingpin and the Sinister Six were aware of his presence and would be waiting. Izuku, undeterred, vowed to find Kingpin and bring him to justice, snapping Craven's neck and discarding his body. As he surveyed his surroundings, Izuku's gaze fell upon a familiar bench, triggering a flashback of happier times at the zoo with Frank Castle, who had shared his own memories of loss. The memory was interrupted by Miles, who reminded Izuku of their past visit. Rogue pointed out the gravity of Izuku's actions, to which he admitted to destroying one of Craven's quirks while claiming the animal transformation ability. MJ inquired about his feelings, and Izuku expressed a sense of exhilaration. Felicia suggested they head home, acknowledging the approaching police. As they left the zoo, Izuku's thoughts lingered on the need for more quirks. The chapter concluded, leading into the next, where an investigation would begin, delving into Izuku's family and relationships. In another scene, Bakugo, Todoroki, Izumi, and Inko stood before the staff, with Aizawa expressing disbelief at the neglect and abuse Izuku had endured due to his quirklessness. Inko admitted their wrongdoings and pleaded for her son's return. 𝗍𝗓 questioned All Might about his knowledge of the situation, to which All Might confirmed he had been aware of Izuku's past and the regrets of his parents. Flashbacks revealed Izuku's initial resistance to accepting All Might as a stepfather, despite All Might's understanding of the struggles of being quirkless and the pain of neglect. Izuku understood that All Might didn't want him to call him Dad just yet, as he felt he hadn't earned that title. Instead, he preferred to build a relationship as teacher and student first, then as friends, and possibly as father and son if Izuku was comfortable with it. All Might acknowledged that he understood what it meant to be quirkless, and he could relate to Izuku's struggles more than anyone else. In a flashback, Might questioned why All Might hadn't revealed everything to the world. 𝗍𝗓 explained that it was because All Might wanted to protect Izuku from the villains who would target him if they knew the truth. Izumi then showed the teachers a notebook filled with details about heroes, including strategies for dealing with them if they went rogue. 𝗍𝗓 found the information intriguing but also concerning. He expressed a longing to expel the students involved but wanted to hear Izuku's opinion first. Midnight pointed out that Izuku wouldn't want anything bad to happen to anyone. 𝗍𝗓 acknowledged this but emphasized that they needed to respect Izuku's decisions to help him with his trauma. Izumi thanked 𝗍𝗓, but he reminded them that they would still face consequences for their actions. As the next day arrived, everyone gathered in the auditorium, where Izumi faced glares from her classmates. Eri wanted to speak with her but hesitated. 𝗍𝗓 warned Izumi not to approach her, suggesting there would be repercussions. 𝗍𝗓 redirected the focus back to Izuku's music, eager to learn more about his past. Inko decided it was her turn to share a song. She searched through the selections until she found one that resonated with her. As she played Not All Heroes Wear Capes, a 12-year-old Izuku appeared on the screen, and the memories flooded back. Izuku called out to his father, and the room buzzed with recognition as Eri mentioned seeing him, along with Kotaro, who shared that 𝗵𝘃𝗃 had given Izuku a second chance at life. All Might noted that Frank was the one who saved Izuku from his difficult past. Aizawa speculated that Frank might have been the one to help him. Inko revealed that Izuku had run away at 8 years old, and Nizu asked Eri and Kotaro if they knew more. Eri mentioned that their father had said Frank provided Izuku with a new family and taught him what it meant to be a man. Nizu suggested they investigate further, but Kotaro interrupted, explaining that Frank had passed away 2 years before Izuku arrived at UA. This revelation shocked everyone, filling them with sympathy for Izuku, who had lost the person who had given him a new life. Nizu inquired about the circumstances of Frank's death, but Kotaro admitted that their father hadn't shared the details, only that he still felt sadness over the loss. Inko expressed her gratitude for Frank, who had given her son a second chance. Denki pointed out that they should be thankful to Frank for saving Izuku, and Izumi realized that Denki was right. Kyoka suggested they listen to Izuku's song, which he had dedicated to Frank. As the music began, Izuku expressed his love and gratitude to Frank, sharing a heartfelt song that highlighted the qualities that made Frank a hero in his eyes. The lyrics spoke of a father who may not wear a cape but was a true hero nonetheless, teaching Izuku valuable lessons and providing unwavering support. As the song concluded, Frank expressed his love for Izuku, who thanked him in return. They discussed celebrating the anniversary of their adoption with ice cream, and Frank suggested inviting Miles and Eren to join them. The camaraderie among them was evident, and Midnight remarked on Frank's good looks and his role as an amazing father to Izuku, a sentiment echoed by Ray and All Might. They all recognized the bond between Izuku and Frank, which had shaped Izuku into the person he was becoming. Masaru observed the dog tags around the man's neck, suggesting he might be military. Niza decided they would find out later and pressed the button to move on. The next name was called Mitsuki Bakugo. Mitsuki expressed her excitement for her turn, and Katsumi mentioned that her mom was trying to find a song for her. Mitsuki offered to help and eventually chose a song she believed belonged to Inko. Inko was curious about Mitsuki's choice, which turned out to be Isn't She Lovely? As Mitsuki played the song, the scene shifted to Frank and Izuku arriving at a mansion. The doors opened to reveal a blonde-haired woman. Izuku greeted her with a heartfelt birthday wish. Emma, his mother, was thrilled to see both her son and Frank, who was there to celebrate his best friend's special day. Izuku then revealed he had a song for Emma, who eagerly encouraged him to share it. As the music began, the lyrics celebrated the beauty and preciousness of a mother. Emma listened with joy, declaring it her favorite song. Izuku was pleased she liked it, and they all prepared to join the party. Mitsuki felt a bit apologetic towards Inko, prompting Nizu to comment on Emma Frost's connection to Frank, wondering how he knew her. Nijire asked Eri if she recognized Emma, who referred to her as Grandma. Kota clarified that their grandpa was not romantically involved with her. Rather, she had been in a relationship with another woman and was happy. Inko expressed her gratitude for Emma and the support she provided to Izuku when she was not his mother. Izumi, however, had concerns, but Inko reassured her they could discuss it later. Nizu suggested they listen to another song before taking a break. The group agreed, and the next person to choose was Tuya. He approached the suitcase, searching for a good song. He found one that was a duet and mentioned it featured someone named Miles Morales. As the video played, Izuku appeared alongside another boy who was African American. They greeted each other, ready to sing. The music started, and the lyrics reflected their struggles and the bond they shared. The song conveyed themes of friendship and understanding, resonating with both boys. After the performance, Izuku and Miles discussed their feelings about the song, acknowledging the emotional weight of certain lines. Tuya and Kirishima admired the bond between the two, while Denki playfully teased Shoto and Katsuki about their jealousy. Shoto and Katsuki denied any envy, but their expressions hinted at their feelings. Nizu suggested they take a break, and everyone agreed. The scene shifted to Sunday morning, where Izuku woke up and went to the bathroom. After washing his hands, he noticed some white strands in his hair and blue spots in his eyes, realizing changes were beginning. He contemplated his reflection but was interrupted by Rogue, who encouraged him not to be hard on himself, reminding him that he was his own person, distinct from his father. Izuku appreciated Rogue's support and opened the door to find his mother, uncle, and aunt in the living room. Emma greeted him warmly, expressing surprise that he hadn't informed her of his return. Izuku explained he had just arrived on Friday night and had been focused on dealing with Craven. Emma looked at him knowingly, recognizing the changes he was undergoing as he began to embrace his quirk. Izuku acknowledged Emma's question about his father, mentioning that he had been in contact many times. Emma expressed her wish that he could stop seeing him, but Izuku felt it was impossible. He noted how his father knew exactly how to provoke him, especially with Trader watching over him. Emma remarked on Izuku's kindness towards his mother and Izumi, despite their past actions. A new voice inquired about how the Japanese girls were, and Emma introduced Eren, who welcomed Izuku back. Eren shared that it had been lonely for him and Miles without Izuku. Miles agreed, and another voice cautioned Eren not to encourage them, as they often did silly things together. Eren playfully responded to his sister, Ryo, who insisted on showing Izuku pictures of his children. Izuku shared a photo from a school event where he had been asked by Mandalay to be Koda's father figure. He felt proud that it had made Koda popular among his classmates. Emma found Koda adorable, and Izuku recounted a moment when Eri met Koda, both feeling shy but bonding over their connection to him. Gwen reminded Izuku that he was banned from choosing Eri's clothes and doing her hair, a responsibility that Rogue and Felicia were happy to take on. Izuku recalled a training session where Eri had come dressed as the Big Three, and her adorable enthusiasm had caused quite a stir. Eren commented on Eri being a daddy's girl, and Kamala asked if Izuku had made a contract with her, to which he confirmed. Shuri compared Izuku's protective nature to that of her brother, while Miles humorously recalled Izuku's warning about the consequences of breaking Shuri's heart. Emma noted that if people knew Eri was the granddaughter of the Punisher, no boy would dare approach her, to which Izuku smirked in agreement. Ryo asked Izuku how it felt to meet his old friends again, and he admitted he felt anger and a longing to confront them but managed to hold back. He then recalled a flashback where All Might had asked if he was sure about entering his old home. Inside, he faced the Bakugo and Todoroki families, who had come to see him. Despite their attempts to embrace him, Izuku insisted on speaking only to Inko and Izumi, wanting the others to leave. When they refused, Izuku took decisive action, causing injuries that prompted the families to rush out for help. Inko expressed disappointment at his approach, but Izuku felt he had no choice and left, frustrated. Returning to the present, Izuku explained to Emma that since that incident, he had avoided being in the same room with them, only tolerating them in class. Emma acknowledged that it was good he had held back, as he could have caused serious harm. Izuku shared that he had made friends with other students, who accepted him warmly. In another flashback, Kirishima invited Izuku to play basketball, and they enjoyed a friendly game. Later, Kyoka thanked him for helping move boxes, and Mina praised his gentlemanly behavior. Izuku reassured them he wouldn't be inappropriate, despite their playful teasing about his lack of interest in their appearances. He explained that his mother had taught him to respect girls, which the girls appreciated. In a subsequent flashback, Izuku discussed with Miles the importance of keeping certain truths about his identity and family background private, especially as they were being listened to. Eren then suggested they all go out to eat, and everyone agreed enthusiastically. As the chapter concluded, Nizu welcomed everyone back to continue enjoying the music, and Fuyumi began searching for a song for Shoka, determined to find something special for her sister. Fuyumi eventually found a song titled, "It's Over," and as it played, a younger Izuku stood in front of a microphone, ready to embrace his future and pursue his own happiness, supported by his friends. Izuku and Miles prepared to start the music, signaling a change in their atmosphere. As the song played, Shoka felt the weight of her emotions, realizing that Izuku had moved on from their relationship. Tears streamed down her face as she came to terms with the situation, understanding that it was her actions that led to this distance. Shota tried to reach out to Shoka, but she was overwhelmed with anger and sadness. She expressed her frustration, blaming him for the circumstances that had hurt Izuku. Endeavor intervened, urging everyone to keep moving forward, and Nizu supported this decision. Izumi, hesitant yet curious, chose a song for Katsumi, hoping it would bring some comfort. As the music began, Izuku found himself in his studio, pouring his heart into the lyrics. The song reflected his struggles, revealing the pain of lost love and the difficulty of moving on. Katsumi listened intently, her heart sinking as she realized the song was not a declaration of love but a farewell. She felt tears welling up, knowing that Izuku would never love her in the way she desired. Katsuki, witnessing his sister's distress, felt a surge of anger toward Izuku for causing her pain. As the song concluded, Miles asked Izuku how he felt. Izuku responded positively, acknowledging that he was ready to leave the past behind and embrace the future. Katsuki, however, was still consumed by his protective instincts, watching Katsumi cry and feeling the need to confront the situation. Katsumi expressed her frustration, wishing that All for One had taken Katsuki's life, declaring that he was a curse to the world and did not deserve to live. Mitsuki tried to intervene, urging Katsumi to stop, but Katsuki dismissed their concerns, insisting that they leave the matter alone. Masaru suggested taking a break, and Nizu agreed, allowing the Todoroki and Bakugo families a moment to cool down. After a few minutes, Nizu announced the next participant, pressing the button to reveal Shoto Todoroki. Shoto hoped to find a song for his sister, Shoka, but instead stumbled upon one that reminded him of his feelings for Izumi, who he knew was in love with Izuku. He reluctantly chose a song titled, "Thank You for the Broken Heart," apologizing to Izumi as he played it. Meanwhile, Izuku and Miles shared a light-hearted moment, with Miles commenting on the quirks of Japan and Izuku expressing his love for various cuisines. They decided to move on and enjoy some food before creating their own songs. As the music played, Izumi left in tears, accompanied by Katsumi and Shoka. Their mothers approached to comfort them, while Nizu suggested another break, which everyone agreed to. Eri asked Mirio if her father had contacted him, to which Mirio replied that he had not, but he was sure he would soon. In the next chapter, Izumi checked on her friends, who were feeling down about their unrequited feelings. Katsumi voiced her anger over Aiken's indifference, and Nizu prompted the next participant, Midnight, to choose a song. Midnight hoped to find a love song and eventually selected one titled, "If I Had You," meant for a girl named Rogue. As the song played, a younger Izuku appeared, preparing to share a song with Rogue and hoping for a positive response. The girls watched, intrigued by Rogue's cool demeanor, while Katsumi expressed her dislike for her. Izuku declared his feelings for Rogue, asking if she would be his partner, but before he could finish, Rogue pulled him close and kissed him. Rogue claimed Izuku as hers, and he responded with a smile. She kissed him once more, while Izumi, Katsumi, and Shoka watched with tears in their eyes, but their feelings were overshadowed by Eri's joyful energy as she jumped around. Mirio noticed Eri's excitement and asked her what was wrong. Eri expressed her happiness, saying she believed Rogue was her new mommy. Mirio agreed, and Eri added that Rogue was pretty. Nizu suggested they move on and hoped there would be another song about Rogue. He pressed a button on the laptop, and Setsuna Tokage appeared on the screen, looking sweet as she searched for a love song. She found one by a group named Felicia Hardy and excitedly shared the title, "Intoxicated." As the music began, Izuku was seen standing in front of a girl with white hair. He greeted her, and she responded affectionately, asking what he was doing there. Izuku explained that he was there for her, and the music played on, capturing the moment between them. The lyrics spoke of feelings that made him feel as if he were intoxicated, sharing a connection that felt otherworldly. When the song ended, Izuku mentioned that since the girls agreed to share him, he felt he had done the right thing by asking them. Felicia playfully tackled him, and they shared a kiss. The others reacted with surprise, noting that he now had two girlfriends. Mineta expressed his envy, while Denki commented on Izuku's sweet nature, suggesting there might be more girls in the mix. Eri chimed in, excitedly declaring that she had two mommies. Nizu noted that Rogue was the daughter of the infamous cat, the most wanted thief in the world, and wondered how Izuku knew her. He encouraged everyone to keep moving on and pressed another button, bringing up Natsuo Todoroki. Natsuo speculated that Izuku might have more girlfriends, while Shoka disagreed. Natsuo mentioned that they had taught Izuku how to flirt, and Shoto jokingly asked why he wasn't included. They all laughed, and Natsuo chose a song for a girl named MJ called Appealing Souls. As the music played, Izuku was seen with a girl with red hair outside. He greeted her, and she affectionately called him Tiger, asking what he wanted to show her. He revealed it was a song, and the lyrics expressed a longing for a deep connection, emphasizing the beauty of her soul. When the song ended, MJ kissed Izuku and declared her love for him. Rogue pointed out that only Gwen was left, and Felicia suggested they go find her. Natsuo proudly remarked that the ℕ𝗵 king had descended, celebrating Izuku's 4 girlfriends. Eri joyfully announced that they had 4 mommies, and Koda humorously noted the life lessons he was learning from his dad. Mandalay playfully tapped Koda's head, while Izumi wondered if the girls made Izuku happy. Nizu encouraged everyone to find the next song, pressing another button. Present Mike stepped forward, eager to share the next song. Midnight joined him as he searched through a suitcase until he found the right one for a girl named Gwen Stacy, titled, Just the Way You Are. The music played, showing Izuku with Miles, who encouraged him to go after his 4th girl. Izuku kicked toward Gwen, urging him not to back down. He stood in front of her and declared that he had a song for her. As the music began, he sang about her beauty, expressing how her eyes sparkled like stars and how her hair fell perfectly without effort. He admired her and wished she could see herself through his eyes, emphasizing that she was amazing just the way she was. The song conveyed his deep affection, celebrating her smile and the way it lit up the world around them. As the music ended, Izuku shared his feelings with Gwen, who responded with a kiss, affirming her love for him. This moment led to a playful declaration from Miles, who proclaimed Izuku the ℕ𝗵 king, prompting the boys around them to kneel in jest. Izuku was surrounded by 4 girls, and their smiles reflected a joy they had never seen before. Mina questioned the nature of Izuku's smile, while Eri explained that it was his infinite smile, something they had all witnessed before. Mirio recalled a past trip to a theme park where Izuku's smile had earned them free treats, leaving everyone in awe of its power. Denki pointed out that they were witnessing something special, while Katsuki dismissed the conversation. The group expressed their frustration about not being able to see the same things Izuku could, but Nizu interrupted them with an urgent phone call. Nizu learned that the Superior Spider-Man had returned and had just taken down a notorious villain. This revelation raised concerns about Izuku's recent departure and the implications of the Vigilante's return. The staff gathered, discussing the potential connection between Izuku and the Superior Spider-Man, with Inko firmly defending her son's character. Despite the doubts raised, she insisted that Izuku was a hero, not a killer. As the staff returned to the auditorium, Inko noticed Eri and Kotaro chatting happily. Izumi approached her mother, curious about their earlier conversation. Inko promised to share later, wanting to focus on Izuku's performance. Eri gleefully announced that she had 4 mommies, bringing smiles to those around her. Mirio commented on Eri's happiness, while others debated the beauty of Izuku's girlfriends. Denki teased that some were just jealous of the love Izuku had found after past heartbreaks. Aizawa expressed his confusion about why they were still discussing the matter, but Nizu emphasized the importance of respecting Izuku's choices. As the discussion continued, Kirishima excitedly searched for a manly song to perform. He settled on My Way, feeling it resonated with him. As he played the song, Izuku was seen training intensely, focused on his punches. Emma and Rio entered, observing his dedication. Just then, Eren and Frank arrived, breathless and surprised by Izuku's commitment to his training. Emma pointed out Izuku's focus, while Eren urged him to take a break, realizing he had been at it for hours. Frank approached Izuku, but when he noticed the state of his hands, he expressed concern, revealing the toll the training had taken on him. This is because Izuku met with Hisashi, didn't he? Izuku confirmed this, and Inko expressed her surprise at the meeting. Izumi questioned why Izuku would meet with Hisashi, while Aizawa noted the anger he sensed from Izuku as he observed him punching the bag for hours. Inko reminded everyone that Hisashi had left them, prompting M to wonder what had been said. Aizawa warned that if Hisashi had said something negative about his son, he would be upset. Nizu suggested they listen to a song, and the music began. As the music played, The lyrics conveyed a strong message of determination and self-assertion. The artist expressed a commitment to doing things his own way, emphasizing hard work and resilience in the face of adversity. The themes of perseverance and self-belief resonated deeply with Izuku, who was breathing heavily after his workout. Frank observed Izuku's intense focus and asked what he was thinking. Izuku looked at his hands, clenched them tightly, and resolved to become a hero, believing that if he died doing what he loved he would be happy. Frank encouraged him to aim high. Izumi questioned why Izuku had met with Oniai-chan instead of her, while AM pointed out that Izuku seemed uncomfortable with the meeting, suggesting it may not have gone well. Inko expressed her frustration towards Hisashi, wondering what he had done to Izuku. Nizu then shared information about Frank Castle, revealing that he had been a distinguished military man who had risen through the ranks and completed many classified missions. His last mission had been particularly dangerous, earning him the Medal of Honor. Nizu recounted how Castle had ventured into enemy territory alone to complete a mission, returning to find that his entire team had been severely injured. When backup arrived, they discovered that Castle had taken out an entire platoon of 300 men. Koda admired his grandpa's bravery, while Eri wished she could have met him. Nizu continued, revealing a tragic backstory. 3 years before meeting Izuku, Castle had lost his wife and son to an old enemy seeking revenge. After that, he had vanished without a trace. Denki commented on how 2 broken souls had found each other and healed, forming a family. Aizawa then noted that Denki had been acting strangely. Denki admitted he had asked Midoriya for tips to improve his quirk, feeling tired of feeling foolish. Midoriya had advised him to lower the voltage and use it to enhance his body and mind, which had resulted in significant improvements. He proudly displayed his newfound strength. Iber blushed at the sight, while Setsuna teased her about having a crush. Aizawa considered asking Midoriya for advice on improvements as well. Nizu decided to move on, pressing a button to introduce the next participant, Itsuka Kendo. She approached the suitcase, searching for a suitable song, and eventually chose one featuring her brother Miles. Izumi quickly corrected that Miles wasn't actually his brother, to which Denki retorted that he was more of a brother than she was a sister. Itsuka played the song, and the scene shifted to Izuku outside, where Miles was in a booth. They saw Izuku with a whiskey bottle, pouring himself a shot and drinking it. Miles commented on Izuku's fondness for whiskey, to which Izuku admitted it was one of the few things that helped with his PTSD. Miles noted that girls typically didn't like it, but Izuku confessed he was hooked on it. Aizawa remarked that Izuku might need to see Hound Dog after returning and suggested checking his room for alcohol. Inko lamented that she had driven her son to this point, feeling like a terrible mother. Nizu encouraged everyone to listen to the song, and Izuku expressed his readiness. Miles confirmed he was prepared as the music began to play. The lyrics spoke of a night out, hinting at a longing for connection and fun. The atmosphere was lively, and as the song progressed, Izuku and Miles shared their enjoyment of the music. After the song ended, Izuku remarked on how great it was, while Miles agreed, suggesting it had a strong impact. Izuku took a drink, and Miles asked for a glass. The women in the room blushed at the song's vibe, while Eri and Koda looked on with confusion. Eri commented on how well Uncle Miles sang, and Koda agreed. Mirio noted the importance of preserving their innocence, while Izumi questioned what else Miles might do to cope with their past actions. Aizawa suggested they might learn more about it through other songs, prompting Nizu to take notes and continue the fun. Pony Tsunatori announced it was her turn and searched for a song in her suitcase. She chose a duet with Miles titled Sunflower. As the song played, Izuku and Miles were seen in separate booths, spotting Uncle Aaron outside. He asked if they were ready, and they both confirmed. The music started again, with the lyrics reflecting a mix of emotions about relationships and personal struggles. The song conveyed themes of love and vulnerability, emphasizing the importance of support and understanding. As the song concluded, Aaron praised the performance, and Miles agreed. Izuku, feeling a bit distant, was reassured by Aaron, who reminded him that he could always call him uncle. Izuku acknowledged this, and Aaron suggested they get some wings together. Mitsuki and Rei checked in on Enji, who expressed his happiness that Izuku had a supportive uncle despite their past mistakes. Masaru shared his feelings of guilt about their relationship with Izuku, recognizing the consequences of their actions. Nizu proposed a break, and everyone agreed. As the scene shifted to Monday afternoon, Izuku prepared for his patrol, noting that his girlfriends couldn't join him due to their circumstances. He left them thoughtful gifts to help them feel better. Climbing out of the window, he met up with his brother Miles, and they swung away to begin their patrol. During their conversation, Izuku inquired about their father, and Miles revealed he was in an AA program but expressed skepticism about his sobriety. They discussed their challenging family situations, with Izuku acknowledging that at least Miles' mom was supportive. Miles encouraged Izuku to reconsider his feelings about his mother, suggesting he still cared for her despite his frustrations. Izuku hesitated but decided to share a secret with Miles, asking him to keep it between them. He recounted a moment when he overheard his mother crying and being comforted by 𝗵, who advised her to give Izuku space to process his feelings. 𝗵 emphasized the importance of understanding and forgiveness, suggesting that healing would take time. Inko was hesitant, expressing her doubts about whether her approach would work. 𝗵 reassured her that they needed to give their son the freedom to choose, warning that if he decided not to forgive her, he might leave the school. Inko didn't want that, and 𝗵 promised to help her regain her son's trust. Inko agreed, though tears streamed down her face as she hugged her husband. Izuku, leaning against the wall, listened quietly, a single tear rolling down his cheek as the flashback faded away. Miles looked at Izuku in awe, who confirmed that the situation was indeed serious. Suddenly, they found themselves in a confrontation with Electro. The two heroes dodged and attacked, landing on a rooftop. Izuku acknowledged that Electro was back, and they both knew the rest of the Sinister Six and Kingpin were watching. Electro threatened to fry Izuku's brain, but Izuku was determined to stand his ground. As they charged at each other, Izuku executed an upper kick that sent Electro soaring into the air. Using his webs, he attempted to capture him. Electro retaliated with a burst of electricity, but Izuku's spider legs absorbed the attack. Izuku demanded to know Kingpin's whereabouts, offering mercy in exchange for information. Electro taunted him, challenging Izuku to try. With a surge of power, Izuku upgraded Miles' quirk, making him feel stronger. Electro, revealing his own enhanced abilities, boasted about the power boost he received from Shirogaki. He declared that this would be the end for them. The two heroes attacked, but Electro skillfully dodged, sending them crashing into a wall. He unleashed a powerful electric attack aimed at Miles, but Izuku leaped in front, absorbing the energy with a sinister grin, reveling in the power. Miles urged Izuku to finish the fight quickly, but Izuku, in a darkly amused tone, acknowledged his true nature. He redirected the attack into the sky, causing a rain of sparks as Electro short-circuited and writhed in pain. Izuku seized the opportunity, capturing Electro and reverting him to his human form. With a chilling declaration, Izuku stabbed Electro, claiming his quirk and leaving him defeated. Izuku took the ring from Electro's hand, announcing that he had taken down two of Kingpin's associates and was coming for the rest. He tossed Electro's body aside and turned to Miles, who reassured him that it was the quirk's influence, not his true self. Izuku, looking at his hand, struggled with his identity, feeling like a monster. Just then, Prowler Aaron intervened, reminding him of who he truly was: a son, a friend, a hero. They quickly left the scene as sirens approached, stopping by a pizza place to bring food home. Upon arriving, they found the girls in the living room eagerly awaiting the pizza. Izuku removed his mask, revealing a portion of his hair had turned white, and the blue in his green eyes was becoming more pronounced. The girls wanted to help him, but they knew he would use his powers again. Gwen mentioned Uncle George, who had distanced himself after learning about her secret identity. Izuku felt compelled to talk to him, wanting to mend their relationship. As the class returned, Eri was happily writing in her princess notebook, planning a special day with her four mothers. Mirio inquired about her plans, and Eri excitedly explained. The conversation turned to finances, with Nizu speculating about how Izuku managed to provide for Eri's needs. They all agreed to wait for Izuku to return home. When it was Denki's turn to choose a song, he picked one sung by Felicia, prompting excitement from Eri. The music began, showing Izuku surrounded by friends and family, highlighting moments of joy and connection. The montage captured Izuku's journey, from his first day at school to cherished memories with Frank, showcasing the love and support that defined their family. So what? They don't look, they don't act. They don't walk, they don't talk like others do. So what? If they hang out without shame, they both do what they want. It shows Izuku with 𝗵𝗃, spending time together as mother and son. 𝗵𝗃 is teaching Izuku how to cook and take care of himself. They come from everywhere, searching for those who care. Somehow, they found it here. They found a home. They are not your ordinary family, but they can all agree that they are as close as can be. It shows Izuku and Miles being gently reprimanded by Rio and 𝗵𝗃, their hands bandaged from a recent fight. It doesn't matter what it looks like, they look perfect to each other. They have every kind of love, and they feel lucky indeed. Others can keep talking. It doesn't matter to them because they are family. It shows Izuku on dates with each of his girlfriends, being playfully dragged along by them. The links in their chains may make them seem strange, but really, they make them stronger. No one could replace their mother or father. It shows Miles feeling sad and crying as his dad leaves home. Izuku places a comforting hand on his shoulder, and Eren comes to hug Miles. They come from everywhere, searching for those who care. Somehow, they found it here. They found a home. It shows Izuku turning 16, surprised by a birthday party thrown by his dad and all his friends. They are not your ordinary family, but they can all agree that they are as close as can be. It doesn't matter what it looks like, they look perfect to each other. They have every kind of love, and they feel lucky indeed. Others can keep talking. It doesn't matter to them because they are family. It shows Izuku sitting down, holding a picture of his old life before he faced hardship. He then grabs a lighter and burns the picture. Hearing someone call his name, he stands up and walks toward the voice to see his new family waiting for him. Izuku sees his dad reaching out, and he takes his hand, pulling him close. The music ends. Izuku feels exhilarated and expresses how awesome it was. MJ agrees and Rogue feels the energy. Felicia and Gwen share their thoughts, affirming their family bond. Kamala agrees, and Shuri notes that they may come from different paths, but they are family. Storm adds her support, and Izuku reflects on the future, mentioning their future kids, which makes the girls blush. Eri asks Koda if they are part of that family, to which he responds affirmatively. Izumi comments on the new family, and Ochako reminds her of the past. Inko asks Izumi to stop, and Eri hopes her dad returns soon so she can meet her mommies. Nizu suggests they continue. All agree, and Nizu presses a button. Sato announces it's his turn and goes to the suitcase to find a good song, eventually selecting a duet with Miles called "Deserve That." As the song plays, a video shows Izuku sitting down, appearing to relax. Inko expresses concern about his choices, while AM notes that he suppresses everything. Katsuki mentions how Izuku often challenges him and Shoto. Izumi speculates about Izuku's late-night habits, and Hounddog notes he hasn't smelled anything unusual. Aizawa suggests they need to ensure he stays safe when he returns. Nizu agrees and they continue. Rogue expresses her disapproval of Izuku's habits, and Izuku admits he doesn't like it either, but it helps with his past experiences. 𝗵𝗃 mentions that the therapist said it helps with his trauma. He is happier. Izuku felt a rush of excitement that made him forget the past. Miles was ready, and they were prepared to take on the challenge together. As the music started, Izuku and Miles felt the rhythm take over. They were in the moment, enjoying the energy and the vibe. Izuku had a lot going for him, and he was determined to make the most of it. He had made plans, and he was ready to impress. Miles joined in, expressing his admiration for Izuku's confidence and charm. They both knew they were on a journey together, building something special. Kirishima noted that they both had difficult relationships with their fathers, while Inko expressed disbelief at the choices some made. Mirio asked Eri if she had seen anyone smoking, and the conversation turned to curious anecdotes about their friends. Eri shared a story about a day she visited a dorm, recalling a moment that made her wonder about the choices people made. Mineta chimed in, questioning the reasons behind those choices, and the group reflected on the importance of good role models. Nizu encouraged everyone to continue, and 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗍𝗔 took his turn, searching for a song that resonated with him. He found one he liked and began to play it. As the music filled the room, Izuku took center stage, wearing a hood and stepping up to the mic. The energy was electric, and everyone felt the intensity of the performance. The song spoke to the strong-willed, addressing struggles and resilience. It conveyed a message of overcoming obstacles and not backing down, resonating with everyone present. The group cheered, appreciating the powerful lyrics and the spirit of the music. They were all in this together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by their shared experiences and the bonds they had formed. Danica Patrick threw the car into reverse at the Indy, colliding with another vehicle, the back of it a mangled mess of steel. Her Mustang and the Jeep Wrangler were both damaged, much like her rear fender. It felt like a chaotic mix of a kamikaze and a peaceful protester, a dangerous combination. She realized that backing into the other car could lead to trouble, and the adrenaline surged through her, making her unaware of when she would finally slow down. She was ready to take action, thinking it was time to go after them, and they wouldn't see it coming. The music played on, and Eren expressed his excitement about the song, while Izuku acknowledged the compliment. Miles wondered if the song was about Venom, the anti-hero from the past, and Izuku confirmed that he looked up to him. They reminisced about how Venom was a good anti-hero, with Eren recalling how badass he was. Iida pointed out that Izuku was a fan of heroes, and Izumi shared a memory of how she bought him a onesie of his favorite hero suit, which made him incredibly happy. Nizu announced that there were 2 more songs left for the day, and the group responded eagerly. The next performer was myheroacademia, who was excited to see what Midoriya had prepared. Ijiro encouraged him to choose a rap song, while Tetsutetsu suggested a workout song. Ojiro eventually found a song he recognized as a workout anthem and shared its title, Remember the Name. As the music played, Izuku stood in front of Frank Castle, asking for his military and special ops training to become stronger. Frank, serious, reminded him that he was only 14, but Izuku was determined and didn't care about his age. Frank reluctantly agreed. The training montage began with Izuku climbing a tree, a rope wrapped around his waist, weights pulling him down. He was determined to push through the challenge. He punched a tree with bare hands, ignoring the pain. He was doing push-ups with a boulder on his back, struggling but refusing to give up. Izuku was focused on his goals, knowing that it wasn't about fame but about making an impact. He carried weights around, struggling against the obstacles in his path. Despite the challenges, he remained determined to prove himself. As he performed one-handed pull-ups with the other hand tied behind his back, he pushed his limits further. The training was intense, and he was determined to succeed. Izuku continued to run with weights in the pouring rain, refusing to stop. He was relentless in his pursuit of strength and skill, knowing that he had to work hard to achieve his dreams. The determination in his eyes showed that he was ready to face any challenge that came his way. In a moment of intense training, Izuku wore a blindfold, preparing himself for whatever obstacles lay ahead. He was ready to confront his fears and push beyond his limits. As a group of opponents appeared, one struck Izuku, causing him to stumble to one knee. The last one aimed for his face, but Izuku caught it. He was not your average person. He knew how to make the most of his abilities, working his way to the top. People often commented on his name, asking if it was given at 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗔 or if it stood for an acronym. No, he was living proof that he could dominate the scene, energizing others faster than a shot of vodka mixed with juice. He and his crew were known as one of the best, dedicated to their craft and giving their all. At around 16 years old, Izuku was doing handstand push-ups with a giant dumbbell on his feet. Forget Mike. Nobody really knew how or why he worked so hard. It seemed like he never had time to rest because he wrote every note and every line. When that light went on in his mind, it was as if a design was formed in his head before he even touched a key or spoke a rhyme. His friends, the talented kids he had signed, were incredible, achieving remarkable feats without even trying. Izuku wore chains around his hands as he punched a steel wall, making dents in it. This was a mix of luck, skill, concentrated power of will, pleasure, pain, and 100% reason to remember his name. He dashed through a forest, a bear chasing him, armed only with a knife. He was relentless, swimming in a pool without stopping, pushing himself to the limits. After a vigorous training session, he kicked a bag, breaking the chain, then balled his fist and smiled as the music ended. Ojiro commented on the performance, while Kirishima and Tetsutetsu expressed their agreement. Mei noted the impressive muscles, prompting curiosity from others. Midnight playfully remarked about her interest, and Mei shared a picture she had taken, causing a flurry of reactions among their friends. In another scene, Izuku returned from a confrontation with Electro, reflecting on Gwen's strained relationship with her father. He remembered how she hadn't spoken to him in 2 years after he learned about her identity as Spider-Ghost. Izuku decided to seek out her father, knowing he was a man of honor and integrity. He swung toward the police HQ, climbing to the top floor where he found George speaking with his colleagues. George greeted Izuku, who expressed the need to discuss Gwen. George was hesitant, but Izuku urged him to listen. He acknowledged George's worries about Gwen's safety, especially after the loss of her mother. Izuku reassured him that he never pressured Gwen into being Spider-Ghost. She chose to help him. He emphasized that Gwen was strong-willed, just like her father. George stood up, declaring his pride in Gwen, but Izuku pressed him on why he hadn't spoken to her. George admitted his fear of losing her, recalling the pain of losing his wife. Izuku encouraged him to mend their relationship, assuring him that Gwen still needed her father. He promised to protect her, no matter the cost, and assured George he would handle any threats. As Izuku left, George reflected on a picture of himself with Gwen from her childhood, realizing the mistakes he had made. The next morning, Izuku woke up to find half of his right eye pupil blue and nearly half of his green hair white. He smiled at the change, acknowledging his transformation. Gwen reminded him that he was still himself, and he thanked her, expressing regret for the strain on her relationship with her father. Gwen reassured him that she was there to help, knowing that Frank Castle was the reason for their current struggles. Izuku wanted to be with Gwen, MJ, Rogue, and Felicia during both the best and worst moments of their lives. He expressed gratitude to Gwen, who reassured him that everything would work out. Just then, the doorbell rang and Rogue went to answer it. She opened the door to find her Uncle George standing there. George greeted Rogue and stepped inside, noticing Gwen, who looked surprised. He called out to her, and they embraced, with Gwen shedding tears of joy at her father's return. George apologized for leaving her alone for 2 years, admitting he had made a mistake. Gwen, still emotional, expressed her regret as well, and George comforted her, suggesting they could start anew as father and daughter. Izuku observed the touching reunion, recalling his own emotional moment with Inko when they were reunited. Despite his feelings of resentment, he realized he wanted to forgive and move forward. George then inquired about his grandchild, and Izuku revealed that he had 2 grandchildren. George was excited to meet them and promised to keep this information a secret. Gwen thanked her father, and they decided to spend time together with her brothers. As they left, MJ went to visit her aunt, Rogue returned to the X-Men mansion for an errand, and Felicia headed to see her father in jail. Izuku found himself alone in the apartment, relishing the peace and quiet he had missed. He lay down on the sofa, enjoying the moment, when Emma entered the room. Emma announced that they were going out, and Izuku asked where they were headed. She explained that she wanted to buy things for her grandchildren and needed his help, even offering him some treats if he wanted. Izuku declined, explaining that he had stopped using them. Emma expressed her excitement about spoiling the kids and mentioned what she thought Izuku's father would do with them. They both agreed that he would spoil them and then take care of 𝗎𝗏. With that, they left, and Izuku felt a sense of change on the horizon. In the infirmary room, the girls woke up, trying to piece together what had happened. Ochako complained about her head, and another girl reminded them that they had seen a picture of Sunny and then passed out. As they recalled the events of the previous night, they blushed, and Mina asked Mei for more pictures. Mei agreed, and Momo playfully scolded Mina for wanting them too. They decided to head to the auditorium as the music was about to begin. The girls discreetly set the pictures of Izuku as their wallpapers, pretending not to notice. When they arrived, they found Kirishima and Tetsutetsu sitting in pain after attempting one of Izuku's exercises. Mina asked what was wrong, and they explained their predicament. Setsuna speculated that Izuku's quirks might be the reason for his strength. Nizu encouraged everyone to continue enjoying the music, while the group expressed concern for Izuku, especially Inko and Izumi, who were worried about him after learning about the loss of his adoptive father. Nizu then called up Tenya Ida, who selected a duet song featuring Izuku and 𝗵𝗃𝗲. As the music started, Izuku was seen walking and began to sing, capturing the attention of everyone around him. As 𝗵𝗃𝗲 joined him, she sang along, and the atmosphere was filled with warmth and excitement, showcasing their bond and the joy of being together. Let's find out. They decided to get married in Vegas without a guest list, wanting to keep things simple. They were excited about getting matching tattoos, not wanting to overthink it. Izuku felt foolishly in love, dreaming of booking a one-way flight to Paris and sharing their last name. They wanted to get straight to "I do," lost in the bliss of their emotions. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 twirled around, praising the performance, while Izuku expressed his longing to marry them all. He shared how his father always told him that they were his soulmates and that he would always protect them and their future children. They all agreed to help him in this journey. Midnight complimented the song, and Kyoka hoped for a duet with Izuku. Eri was thrilled by the performance, and Mirio and Denki joined in the excitement, speculating about Izuku's past duets. Nizu pressed a button to find out more. Mandalay was determined to discover another duet song of Izuku and one of his girlfriends for her nephew, knowing how much Izuku had helped Koda. She found a song with Rogue titled "Señorita." Momo explained that it meant girl in Spanish. As the song played, they saw Izuku and Rogue in the booth, with Izuku strumming his guitar. The music began, and Izuku reassured Rogue that she would do great. The song captured the essence of their connection, filled with longing and excitement. They danced together, lost in the moment, sharing a bond that felt electric. As the song ended, Izuku complimented Rogue, who blushed at his words. Miles noted how Uncle Aaron's teachings always seemed to work, while Mineta expressed his frustration at the double standard. Denki defended Izuku's loyalty, emphasizing that he respected his relationships. Nizu decided it was time to move on, pressing another button to see what Mirio had in store. Eri requested a song with her mom, and Mirio agreed, searching for a fitting duet. He found one with Felicia Hardy titled "The Way." As the song began, Felicia and Izuku shared a moment in the booth, looking into each other's eyes. The lyrics reflected their feelings, capturing the essence of their relationship and the joy they found in each other. The music filled the air, resonating with their emotions and the bond they shared. Felicia expressed her feelings, saying that the connection they shared was something she wanted all the time. On a scale of 1 to 10, she felt like she was at 100, unable to stay away from him. She assured him that if he wanted something, she had it every day, promising to always be by his side because he was someone special to her. She encouraged him not to worry, revealing that she had a bad boy in her life who had captured her heart in a way she couldn't understand. She didn't care who saw them, she just wanted to be open about her feelings when he was near. Felicia loved the way he made her feel, and it was clear that her affection was deep and genuine. She found it exhilarating when they were together, and she knew exactly what he liked. She promised to be his lover and friend, always there for him. Izuku made her feel wonderful, and he hoped she would reach out to him whenever she thought of him. He saw her as a princess in public but knew there was a different side to her when they were alone. He invited her to watch a movie with him, suggesting a couple of titles, and expressed his longing to explore their connection further. Felicia reassured him that he had her heart, and she loved the way he made her feel. Their bond was evident, and they shared a special connection that was hard to ignore. As the music played, Izuku began to sing about wanting to rewrite their destinies together, expressing that nothing could keep them apart. He believed that they could change their world and be together, despite the challenges they faced. Gwen, who was also present, shared her love for Izuku, and he reciprocated her feelings. Inko observed the appealing moment, noting how genuine their love was. The group around them felt the warmth of their connection, and Eri eagerly anticipated seeing her loved ones together. As they took a break from their activities, 𝗵𝗃 sighed, reflecting on the song Izuku had written about Hisashi. She expressed her concern about his reaction to meeting Hisashi, recalling how he had trained intensely, leaving his knuckles bruised. She was curious about what had transpired between them. Izumi felt a sense of sadness as she reflected on Midoriya's reaction. 𝗵𝗃 reminded her that she shouldn't call him Oni-chan. Izumi believed she didn't deserve that title after everything that had happened. A voice of encouragement chimed in, suggesting that by respecting his wishes, she could have a chance to reconnect with him as family. 𝗵𝗃 hoped the advice was correct, and the voice reassured her, explaining that Midoriya didn't want to follow the same path as them. They shared a moment of understanding about the past, acknowledging the pain of unresolved feelings. As they returned to the auditorium, Shoka and Katsumi were deliberately ignoring their twin brothers. Izumi approached them, asking why they were acting that way. Katsumi declared that Katsuki was no longer her brother, and Shoka echoed her sentiment, stating he was dead to her. Izumi tried to protest, but Shoto intervened, telling her to let it go. Reluctantly, she agreed. Nizu announced that they would listen to 4 songs before concluding the day. He pressed a button, and the first song began. Rei Todoroki prepared to choose a song for her daughter, but she felt a sense of worry about the selection. She ultimately chose Let You Down, expressing her concern for Izuku. As the music played, the scene shifted to Miles and Izuku. Miles urged Izuku to reconsider, but Izuku insisted he had to go through with it. Miles reminded him to take his medication afterward, and Izuku agreed, ready to face whatever was ahead. The lyrics of the song echoed the struggles Izuku faced, filled with feelings of disappointment and the weight of expectations. As the song continued, the emotions in the room grew palpable. 𝗵𝗃, Rei, and Mitsuki understood the depth of Izuku's pain, recalling moments when they had tried to connect with him, only to see through his forced smiles. Suddenly, chaos erupted as their children arrived, leading Shoto and Katsuki to the emergency room due to injuries they had sustained, further aggravating Izuku's feelings of anger and frustration. After the song ended, Izuku expressed his frustration, needing time to cool off. Miles suggested he go to the gym, knowing it was still open. Izuku left, and Miles noted the potential danger if Izuku's anger continued to grow. 𝗵𝗃 lamented how much Izuku seemed to hate them, while Katsumi pointed out that their actions had made his life miserable. Katsuki attempted to defend himself, but Katsumi's harsh words about a villain only escalated tensions. Masaru intervened, reminding them that they had all made their choices. Nizu encouraged them to continue, pressing another button to play the next song. Endeavor selected If I Would Have Known, dedicating it to Frank Castle. As the music played, the scene shifted to Izuku at a cemetery, kneeling in front of Frank's grave, overwhelmed with emotion. He cried, expressing his sorrow for not being there. 𝗵𝗃 noticed the date approaching, realizing it was the anniversary of Frank's death. Kyoka empathized with Izuku's pain, recognizing the depth of his love for his father. Nizu connected the dots, realizing the significance of the date and the weight of the moment, urging everyone to listen closely to the song. Music started, and the atmosphere was heavy with memories. The protagonists still saw their lost friend in the places they used to visit together, as if their face was painted on the walls. They had been trying to forget the moments they shared, but now they found themselves alone, reflecting on the past. It felt like summer had turned into winter, and if they had known their friend would be gone, they would have cherished those moments a little longer. Now, all that remained was a memory, and they would have given anything for a chance to say goodbye. They remembered the laughter they once shared, but now that joy was replaced with an emptiness that nothing seemed to fill. Thoughts of their friend lingered in their mind, and even in their absence, the memories were vivid. They promised themselves they would be okay, but the longing for answers weighed heavily on them. Izuku stood on top of a building, feeling the weight of his emotions. He expressed his frustration about the man responsible for his friend's fate, vowing to confront him. The intensity of his anger was palpable, a side of him that others had rarely witnessed. He felt a fear that was more profound than anything he had faced before, as if he could unleash a storm of emotions if provoked. As the music played, 𝗬𝗎 took his turn, searching for a song that resonated with him. He found one titled, I Wanna Live, and decided to share it. The lyrics echoed the struggle between darkness and the longing for life, reflecting Izuku's own internal battle. He was determined to find his own reason to live, even if it meant facing difficult truths. The atmosphere shifted as 𝗍𝗬 received an urgent call, revealing troubling news about a powerful adversary. The staff gathered, concerned about the implications of this new threat. They watched a video that showed the ruthless actions of Superior Spider-Man, who had taken a quirk and ended a life in a brutal display. The revelation that this figure might be connected to Izuku's past left everyone on edge. As discussions unfolded, it became clear that they were facing a significant challenge. The mystery surrounding 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Midoriya deepened, and the staff realized they needed to tread carefully. The stakes were high, and the truth was more elusive than ever. They prepared for the battles ahead, knowing that the path to understanding would not be easy. They decided to return but agreed not to inform the students, wanting to avoid causing any worry. Aizawa remained behind, contemplating the implications of 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Midoriya potentially being all for one. 𝗍𝗬 acknowledged it was merely a theory, but Aizawa insisted that if it were true, they would ensure Izuku and his sister were protected. They returned to the auditorium, where Eri was happily spending time with 𝗳𝗄𝗧. Eri asked 𝗳𝗄𝗧 what they should do when they finally met their mothers, and 𝗳𝗄𝗧 replied that he was fine as long as it wasn't shopping. Eri excitedly mentioned plans for mother-daughter days, but 𝗳𝗄𝗧 firmly stated that there would be no sailor outfits involved. Mandalay noted 𝗳𝗄𝗧's happiness, and 𝗍𝗬 welcomed everyone back, announcing they would continue with more songs. The group responded eagerly, and 𝗍𝗬 introduced the next performer, 𝗳𝗄𝗧 Izumi. 𝗳𝗄𝗧 expressed his longing to include a song for Eri, and as he searched for the right one, he found a special song titled, You'll Be in My Heart. Eri was thrilled to hear it was for her, explaining that her father had recorded it for her to help her sleep. As the song played, the scene shifted to Izuku in his dorm, reflecting on the memories associated with the song. He recalled how it comforted him during nightmares and wondered how Eri would react when she met him. The music began, conveying a heartfelt message of protection and love. Izuku mused about making Eri smile, while Midnight jokingly mentioned that if he were single, she would claim him for herself, suggesting that perhaps his girlfriends would be willing to share him. Ragdoll then took her turn, excitedly selecting a song called My Boy for 𝗳𝗄𝗧. As the music played, Izuku reflected on his own experiences, recognizing the struggles of losing a father and the bond he shared with 𝗳𝗄𝗧. He understood the challenges of growing up without a father figure and resolved to support 𝗳𝗄𝗧 through his journey. The song conveyed deep emotions about love and connection, emphasizing that family is not solely defined by blood. Izuku reassured 𝗳𝗄𝗧 that while the pain of loss may never fully disappear, it would become easier to bear with time. As the WP embraced him, 𝗳𝗄𝗧 felt the warmth of their support, knowing he was not alone. 𝗍𝗬 prompted everyone to continue, and Ochako Uraraka stepped up to choose a song. She excitedly picked one inspired by the Minions, recalling how much fun they had watching the movie together. The playful atmosphere brought smiles as the music filled the room, creating a joyful moment for everyone present. Eri expressed her longing for something, and Momo quickly made it for her. Eri thanked Momo and put it on, happily exclaiming about it. The music began to play, filling the room with an upbeat tune that lifted everyone's spirits. As the song continued, the atmosphere became lively, with everyone clapping along to the rhythm. They felt a sense of joy and freedom, as if nothing could bring them down. The lyrics spoke of happiness and the little things that made life special, encouraging everyone to embrace the moment. Once the song ended, Izuku commented on how awesome it was, and Eri agreed enthusiastically. 𝗍𝗬 noted how great of a father Izuku was, while Mirio reflected on the positive example he had set. Izumi remarked on Izuku's pure heart, despite everything they had been through. 𝗍𝗬 announced that they would take a break after one more song, pressing a button to cue the next track. Recovery Girl selected a song titled, Best Day Ever, and as it played, the lyrics filled the screen. The song celebrated the joy of simple moments and the magic of life, resonating with everyone present. 𝗬𝗧𝗄 and the others enjoyed the performance, expressing their delight and wishing to maintain that happiness always. 𝗎𝗎 suggested taking a break, and everyone agreed. 𝗬𝗧𝗄 excitedly urged Stitch to join her in getting something to eat. Meanwhile, in space, Deadpool humorously announced his hunting expedition, adding a light-hearted touch to the scene. As the chapter concluded, 𝗬𝗧𝗄 giggled with excitement about meeting her 4 mommies and grandma. Mirio acknowledged her enthusiasm, and 𝗬𝗧𝗄 expressed her hope that her daddy would bring Uncle Miles along, as she wanted to meet him. Mirio reassured her that he would likely come. Izumi approached 𝗬𝗧𝗄 with stuffed animals, but 𝗬𝗧𝗄 rejected them, upset about her father's situation. Inko intervened, trying to guide Izumi away from the confrontation. She emphasized the importance of not using 𝗬𝗧𝗄 or Koda to seek Izuku's forgiveness, believing it would only push him further away. Izumi questioned Inko's willingness to sacrifice friendships for a chance with Izuku, to which Inko affirmed her commitment to prioritizing her son. As they returned to the auditorium, 𝗎𝗎𝗄 gathered everyone's attention to share news. He revealed that he had contacted the New York City Police Commissioner, who confirmed that Izuku was safe in New York. Immediately inquired about speaking to him, but 𝗎𝗎𝗄 explained that Izuku was hesitant to engage with those who had caused him distress. Despite this, he reassured them that Izuku was doing well. Mirio praised the police commissioner for his support, and 𝗬𝗧𝗄 celebrated the news. 𝗎𝗎𝗄 mentioned that they would continue listening to songs, pressing a button to cue the next performer, Hitoshi Shinsho, who was ready to take his turn. He moved toward the music, searching for a song that resonated with him until he found one he liked. Hitoshi discovered a track titled 𝗧𝗵𝗲. As he played the song, Izuku stood in front of a crowd in New York City. He addressed everyone, dedicating the song to all the police officers, EMTs, doctors, and firefighters who risk their lives to ensure a peaceful city. The crowd erupted in cheers as Izuku began to sing. The music started, and the atmosphere filled with energy. The lyrics spoke of strength and resilience, emphasizing that they could be heroes everywhere they went, overcoming any obstacle in their path. The crowd felt inspired, their spirits lifted by the powerful message of the song. As the performance concluded, Izuku expressed gratitude for all the hard work and dedication of those in service. The crowd cheered again, and the heroes in attendance stood proudly. Aizawa took the opportunity to remind everyone that while they fought villains, it was these everyday heroes who truly protected civilians. Denki chimed in, acknowledging their crucial role. Aizawa, though surprised, agreed with Denki's insight, and the group shared a moment of camaraderie. Kyoka remarked on Denki's intelligence, while Izumi noted his talent for analyzing quirks effortlessly. 𝗎𝗎𝗄 mused about the implications of their discussion, eager to continue the event. He pressed a button to select another song, and 𝗧𝗪𝗪 stepped forward, ready to choose a track. He rummaged through the suitcase until he found one he liked. 𝗧𝗪𝗪 announced that he had selected Hall of Fame. As the song played, Izuku appeared in his dorm room, looking directly at the camera. He dedicated the song to all his teachers and the heroes he had met upon returning to Japan, especially to Aizawa, whom he admired greatly. Aizawa smirked beneath his scarf, while Mike and Midnight exchanged playful comments about Aizawa's pride. The music began, encouraging listeners to strive for greatness and leave their mark on history. It spoke of perseverance and the importance of trying, inspiring everyone to aim high and achieve their dreams. The crowd was captivated, feeling the motivation surge through them. As the song ended, Izuku expressed his excitement, thinking about how much Aizawa would appreciate the sentiment. Suddenly, his phone rang, and he answered it, revealing that Hisashi wanted to meet. Izuku quickly made plans to sneak out of the window to meet him. Inko, watching from a distance, noted that he was still in contact with Hisashi, who was now in Japan. Aizawa pondered the reasons behind Izuku's reluctance to meet him. The conversation shifted as 𝗎𝗎𝗄 encouraged everyone to continue the event. 𝗵𝗃 stepped up, searching through the suitcases for a song. After a moment, he found one he liked and announced that he had chosen 𝗬𝗏𝗔𝗍𝗔. As the music played, Izuku was seen in his studio with Eren, ready to perform. He dedicated the song to all the heroes who had lost their lives in the line of duty, honoring their sacrifice and commitment. Some legends are told, Some turn to dust or to gold, but one will remember Izuku for centuries. Just one mistake is all it will take, and he will go down in history. He was determined to make his mark. Izuku was struggling, feeling overwhelmed by the weight of his circumstances. He felt the pressure to be strong, but it was hard. As he fought against his inner demons, he felt a wave of nausea wash over him. Everyone was shocked as Mirio and Mandalay embraced 𝗬𝗓𝗏. Momo wondered if Izuku had turned to substances for relief. Aizawa suspected it was the only way he could cope. Hound Dog knew he needed to focus on Izuku when he returned home. Inko expressed concern about whether he was still using. 𝗬𝗏 suggested they would ask him when he came back. Nizu announced that there was one more song before they would finish for the day and pressed a button. Cemento stepped forward, ready to choose a song. He searched through the suitcase until he found one that resonated with him. He declared his choice, Born for This, and played it as they watched Izuku standing in front of Yue. A smile crossed his face as he looked at the gates and walked inside the school. As the music played, Izuku reflected on his journey. He felt the rhythm within him, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He knew he was born for this, despite the critics and the doubts that surrounded him. He believed they could write their own story and be an army of warriors who learned to embrace the pain. Izuku had struggled for years, facing his fears and doubts, but he knew he would never lose his voice. He was determined to inspire others, to show them they were not alone. He was born for this. After the song ended, Izuku declared that he was born for this. Nizu praised the song, and Midnight agreed, noting how inspiring it was. Aizawa acknowledged Izuku's ability to uplift others. Eri expressed her love for her father, and Mirio added that he loved his princess and champ. Both kids smiled, feeling the warmth of their bond. Nizu suggested it was time to return home. 𝗬𝗏 informed Inko that he would speak with Nizu about helping to find young Midoriya. Izumi offered for her mother to stay with her, and Inko agreed. In a different scene, Frank Castle had just saved Izuku from a dark moment. He looked at the boy with concern, questioning why he would consider such a thing. Izuku shared his feelings of neglect and bullying from those who were supposed to care for him. Frank listened and offered a different perspective, suggesting that family isn't solely defined by BLD. He proposed adopting Izuku, sharing his own loss and the longing to heal together. Izuku hesitated, noting that Frank was from America, but Frank reassured him that he could help him escape his current situation. Izuku admitted to struggling with substance use, revealing the depth of his challenges. The connection between them began to form, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. Frank had a curious nature, asking Izuku what his thing was. Izuku replied that it was pain medication. Frank handed him some Vicodin, and after a moment, offered him whiskey as well. Izuku took the pills and a drink, feeling a bit better. Frank then suggested they leave the rooftop. They made their way down to Frank's hideout, with Frank scanning the area. Izuku, intrigued, asked who Frank was. Frank introduced himself as the Punisher, the anti-hero of New York City, known for his ruthless reputation. Izuku expressed admiration, noting that Frank was said to have over 30,000 kills and was considered the monster of monsters. Frank acknowledged the title with a hint of pride and mentioned he had already taken care of a target. Izuku, unfazed by Frank's reputation, said he wasn't afraid, unlike most parents who used Frank to scare their children into behaving. Frank was impressed and decided to get Izuku something to eat. They ordered 5 large pizzas and drinks. Once the food arrived, Izuku devoured an entire pizza, admitting it had been days since he had eaten something good. Frank joked about his previous meals being from dumpsters, but assured Izuku that those days were over. After finishing their meal, they packed the leftovers and headed to a private airstrip where a plane awaited them. Izuku bid farewell to his past, focusing on the future. After a 10-hour flight, they arrived in New York City. Frank led Izuku to his apartment, which was quite nice. He offered Izuku the second bedroom, and Izuku gratefully accepted, feeling pleased to have his own space. The next morning, Izuku woke up feeling unwell and rushed to the bathroom. Hearing the commotion, Frank checked on him. Izuku explained that the change in climate and scenery had made him sick. Frank mentioned a neighbor who was a nurse and offered to get her. He knocked on the door next door, and soon both he and the nurse, 𝗲𝗄𝗵𝗲, entered the apartment. Frank introduced Izuku to 𝗲𝗄, who was surprised to learn that Frank had adopted a child. She conducted a thorough examination of Izuku, checking his heartbeat, blood pressure, and other vital signs. Noticing the scars on his body, she felt a wave of sadness as Frank explained what had happened to him. 𝗲𝗄 informed them that Izuku seemed malnourished and had some bones that had not healed properly. She expressed gratitude to Frank for helping him. Izuku thanked her, and she reassured him that he was lucky to have survived such hardships. She offered to take him to her hospital, where a friend could assist him, especially since the U.S. had a troubling reputation for child abuse. Frank promised to use his connections to keep Izuku's identity safe. As they were talking, a young boy named Miles entered the room. 𝗲𝗄 introduced him as her son, and Miles greeted Izuku, asking about his favorite artist. They bonded over their shared interests, with Izuku mentioning Snoop Dogg and Miles responding with Ice Cube. Izuku was taken to the hospital, where he received a proper diagnosis and treatment, beginning therapy sessions. Over the course of the year, he improved significantly and enrolled in Miles' school, thrilled to have his best friend by his side. As time passed, he met new friends and began to emerge from his shell, rediscovering his childhood. During a field trip, both Izuku and Miles were bitten by radioactive spiders, granting them Spider-Man powers. They trained hard, and after meeting Hisashi, Izuku embraced the role of an anti-hero. Frank trained him, and together they undertook missions around the world, helping Izuku establish a name for himself. One day, Izuku woke up to an earthquake, getting out of bed with his girlfriend just as Miles emerged from his room with his own girlfriend. They turned on the news to see Sandman wreaking havoc, transforming into a giant figure. Sandman demanded the presence of Superior Spider-Man, threatening destruction if his demands were not met. Izuku, feeling the weight of the situation, prepared to confront Sandman, determined to protect those in danger. As they arrived at the scene, Sandman greeted Izuku mockingly. Izuku, undeterred, prepared for battle, knowing they had to ensure no civilians were caught in the chaos. Sandman unleashed his henchmen, but Izuku used his water quirk to counter them, turning the sand soldiers into mush. With the main threat at hand, Izuku instructed his friends to handle the henchmen while he focused on Sandman. He swung into action, launching webs and water bullets at Sandman, who retaliated with hardened sand. Izuku demanded to know the whereabouts of Kingpin, but Sandman refused to cooperate, vowing to kill Izuku instead. Determined, Izuku dove toward Sandman, landing powerful kicks and using his webs to restrain him. He unleashed a wave of water, soaking Sandman and freezing part of his body. However, Sandman quickly adapted, hardening his form to withstand the attacks. Izuku, undeterred, activated his special ability and charged at Sandman, delivering a series of punches that broke through the hardened defenses. The battle raged on, with Izuku pushing himself to protect his friends and the city from the looming threat. A spike pierced through Izuku's stomach, causing him to cry out in pain. Sandman seized him and hurled him away. Miles, channeling his inner Superior Spider-Man, and Gwen expressed their anger at Sandman. Izuku crashed onto a rooftop, removing his mask as he coughed up blood. He reflected on his weakness, feeling the weight of his concussions. A voice echoed in his mind, questioning why he was holding back and reminding him of the horrors they had faced. It urged him to prove them right, to fight or be forgotten. Izuku realized the truth in those words. If he didn't embrace his power, he would lose everyone he cared about. He had already lost his father and 𝗬𝗍𝗍𝗍, and their deaths weighed heavily on him. He needed to grow stronger to protect Gwen, Rogue, Felicia, MJ, Eri, Koda, his mother, and his friends. He couldn't let anything happen to them. As Izuku's green hair shifted to white and his right eye turned blue, he declared it was time to unleash his true potential. Sandman faced off against Izuku's team with a smirk, taunting them about what would happen if he defeated them. Suddenly, a dark presence loomed, and Sandman turned to see Superior Spider-Man approaching. He remarked that Izuku seemed more like a demon than a monster. Izuku was ready for round 2, and Sandman vowed to kill him. Izuku laughed, confident that Sandman would be the one to fall, along with the rest of the Sinister Six, before going after Kingpin. Izuku summoned a massive lightning bolt, aiming it at Sandman, who narrowly dodged the attack. Sandman taunted him, but Izuku's confidence grew as dark clouds gathered and rain began to pour, weakening Sandman's form. Jumping to another building, Izuku prepared for the final blow, conjuring a lightning dragon behind him. He asked Sandman what happened to wet sand when it interacted with lightning. When Sandman questioned him, Izuku unleashed his attack, hitting Sandman and causing him to scream in pain. Sandman barely managed to revert to his human form, bewildered by his loss of powers. Izuku confronted Sandman, mocking him for being reduced to a mere man. Sandman pleaded to leave his daughter out of their conflict, but Izuku reminded him of his threats against his family. Sandman insisted that his life insurance would protect his daughter, asking Izuku to ensure she would be safe. Izuku agreed, acknowledging their shared bond as fathers. In a moment of grim resolution, he ended Sandman's life, taking the ring from his finger. Reflecting on his actions, Izuku felt a surge of vengeance. His girlfriends rushed to him, relieved he hadn't lost control completely. He apologized for frightening them, and they comforted him, happy to see him back to his normal self. They decided it was time to leave the scene. As they departed, Izuku discovered a set of keys on Sandman's body, leading him to a warehouse later that night. Inside, he found 10 suitcases filled with money. He took them to Sandman's ex-wife's apartment, sneaking in to leave the cases on the table just as she entered. She recognized him as Superior Spider-Man, and he explained that her ex-husband had sent the money for her and their daughter, fulfilling his last wish. She asked if he had suffered, and Izuku assured her that he hadn't. When she questioned if he had killed Sandman, Izuku expressed his regret, and she thanked him for saving Sandman from himself. He urged her to leave the city for her daughter's safety before departing. As Izuku swung back home, he resolved to take down Kingpin next. In another part of the city, Inko woke up next to her daughter, Izumi, who was looking at a picture from their past. Izumi wondered if 𝗧𝗵𝗃 loved them, noting that he had made contact with Izuku but not with them. Inko reassured her that 𝗧𝗃 had not liked meeting him. They discussed their hopes for Izuku's forgiveness, and Inko expressed her willingness to sacrifice her friendships for it. After breakfast with their class, they gathered in the auditorium, where Eri clutched her Stitch plushie, missing her father. Momo made her a plushie of Izuku, bringing a smile to Eri's face. Nizu initiated a song selection process, and as the music played, they saw Izuku sitting on a rooftop with a bottle of liquor, taking a sip. Then he looked at the bottle, got up, and tossed it against the wall, shattering it. Izuku expressed his frustration, feeling that every encounter with 𝗧𝗃 only angered him more. Frank reminded him that he could choose to avoid 𝗧𝗃, but Izuku explained that he couldn't deny seeing him because of the threats 𝗧𝗃 had made against Inko and Izumi. Inko realized that 𝗧𝗃 was threatening Izuku, indicating that if he didn't comply, he would harm them. Izumi felt a surge of concern for her brother, while Frank acknowledged that Izuku's longing to protect them showed he still cared. Izuku reflected on his situation, looking at his hands and contemplating the darker thoughts that plagued him. He shared a sad smile, admitting that he once believed his hands were meant to save people, but now he wondered if they were destined for destruction. He felt like a popular monster, consumed by his inner turmoil. As music began to play, Izuku expressed his daily struggles with feelings of despair and anger. He battled with his emotions, feeling trapped and overwhelmed, questioning if he would ever find a way out. He felt like he was falling apart, grappling with the fear of becoming like 𝗧𝗃. He asked Frank to promise that if he ever turned into someone like 𝗧𝗃, he would end his life. The revelation shocked everyone present, leaving them stunned. Ochako questioned whether 𝗧𝗃 was a villain, while Izumi admitted she didn't know. Aizawa expressed his anger at how 𝗧𝗃 was making Izuku suffer. Inko resolved to confront 𝗧𝗃, feeling he had no right to make their son's life miserable. Gran Torino suggested they should find him, and Nizu moved on to the next person, pressing a button to reveal Katsuki Bakugo. Katsuki approached the black disc, selecting the second option. They saw Izuku with Emma and his Aunt Rio, both examining his scars. Nijire commented on Izuku's work, while the trio cried, feeling helpless. Izuku noted that Izuku hadn't had scars before, leading Denki to speculate that he might have used makeup to cover them. Mina suggested it could be special makeup, while Emma and Ryo expressed their frustration with Inko. Izuku reassured them that his scars represented a new beginning for him. As music played again, he reflected on his struggles, feeling the weight of expectations and the pain he carried within. He wished for someone to understand his internal battle and hoped to make it through the night. Crying, Izuku was embraced by Ryo and Emma, allowing himself to release his pent-up frustrations. Inko felt grateful for their support, realizing how much they cared for him. Eri asked Mirio if her father would be okay, and he assured her that when Izuku returned home, she should give him the biggest hug. Nizu prompted them to continue with the next segment, pressing a button to reveal Gran Torino. He selected the third option, and they watched as Superior Spider-Man and his team arrived at an abandoned building. Superior Spider-Man kicked in the door, revealing the Punisher on the ground, unresponsive. As the scene unfolded, they saw Izuku's face beneath Superior Spider-Man's mask. Izuku cried out in despair, pleading for his father to wake up. He approached Punisher, who had removed his mask to reveal Frank Castle. Izuku's heart shattered as he held his father's lifeless body, tears streaming down his face. Gwen tried to comfort him, but Izuku was lost in his grief, unable to accept the reality of his father's death. As he stood before his father's grave, surrounded by mourners, a general approached and placed a hand on Izuku's shoulder. The general informed him that they had discovered who was responsible for his father's death. Izuku demanded to know the name, and the general revealed it was Kingpin. Fueled by rage, Izuku vowed to make him pay for what he had done, recalling the dark aura he had felt before, reminiscent of All for One. Mirio, Mineta, and Kyoka speculated about the situation, wondering if Kingpin was the reason for the chaos surrounding them. Nizu suggested that the last person to encounter Kingpin might hold the key to understanding the situation. Izuku's family called out to him, but he was consumed by his determination for vengeance. As the music played, Izuku donned his Superior Spider-Man suit and confronted a drug dealer, demanding to know Kingpin's whereabouts. The dealer, terrified, pleaded for mercy, but Izuku's anger boiled over. He had witnessed the dealer's heinous acts and was unwilling to show any compassion. With a swift motion, he ended the dealer's life, vowing to hunt down Kingpin and exact his revenge. Eri, distressed, insisted that her father was not a monster, while Nijire and Inko supported her. Meanwhile, All for One reveled in the chaos, aware that his son's secret had been uncovered. Back at UA, the students were grappling with the shocking revelation of Izuku's lineage, realizing he was the son of one of the world's most dangerous villains. Hisashi confronted Izuku, blaming him for Frank's death and questioning his strength. Izuku, fueled by anger, warned Hisashi not to speak to him that way. Hisashi taunted him, suggesting he needed his quirk to be strong. In a moment of desperation, Izuku touched Hisashi's hand, feeling the darkness within him awaken. He vowed to take down Kingpin and drag Hisashi to hell afterward. As the tension hung in the air, Inko and Izumi called out to Izuku, realizing the weight of his burden. Momo noted that Izuku's fearlessness in the face of danger made sense now, while Ida and Kirishima acknowledged the intensity of his emotions. The chapter concluded with a sense of foreboding, as the next challenges awaited Izuku on his path of vengeance. Inko was relieved to see Hisashi and her sweet daughter Izumi. Hisashi greeted them warmly, but Izumi was quick to assert that he was not her father. Hisashi, known as All for One, remarked on Izumi's rebellious nature, similar to her brother's. All Might confronted Hisashi, pointing out that the children were not his. Nizu questioned why Midoriya had a copy of Hisashi's quirk. Hisashi laughed, explaining that he hadn't given Izuku a quirk, he had restored his original power, calling it All for One too. Hisashi elaborated on his quirk, which allowed him to take, use, and give quirks to others. Nizu noted that this was obvious, but Hisashi revealed that his son had a unique ability to combine quirks, alter them, and even destroy them. This was where Inko's quirk came into play. When asked what he meant, Hisashi explained that Izuku could steal quirks telepathically. All Might inquired about young Midoriya's pursuit of the Sinister Six. Hisashi explained that they were hired by Kingpin for protection, and when all 6 combined their power, they could reveal his location. He mentioned that Izuku had just defeated Sandman. Izuku felt a surge of frustration, realizing he needed to become stronger. He heard a voice urging him to stop holding back, reminding him of the pain they had endured and the perception of him as a monster. The voice challenged him to prove them right, to fight or be forgotten. Izuku recognized the truth in those words. If he didn't embrace his power, he would lose everyone he cared about. He felt responsible for the deaths of his father and 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏, believing his weakness had cost them their lives. Determined to protect Gwen, Rogue, Felicia, MJ, Eri, Kota, his mother and his friends, he resolved to grow stronger. As Izuku's green hair began to turn white and his right eye shifted to blue, he declared it was time to let loose. Hisashi observed that each time Izuku used his quirk, his green hair was replaced by white, and his emerald eyes were becoming ocean blue. The guilt of not being able to save 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 weighed heavily on Izuku, pushing him to sacrifice his humanity for power. Those who cared for him felt heartbroken and frustrated, remembering how they had relied on him to save them from powerful foes. Hisashi revealed a troubling detail about Kingpin, stating that he had instructed him to eliminate the Punisher. Inko was horrified, questioning why he would do such a thing to his own son. All Might expressed that Hisashi was devoid of feelings, wanting Izuku to become like him, something inhuman. Hisashi laughed, confident that with Izuku's actions against the Sinister Six and Kingpin, he would become like him. Aizawa requested permission to retrieve Izuku, while Inko insisted on finding her son, regardless of the risks. Izumi declared that she would drop out of UA if necessary, and Kyoka surprisingly agreed with her. Nizu intervened, explaining that if the media discovered their presence in New York City, Kingpin would come after them. He warned that Izuku would start a war with villains and anyone who stood in his way, and he couldn't allow them to go. Everyone felt helpless, unable to assist Izuku in his time of need. Kirishima expressed frustration at the thought of leaving him to suffer alone. Denki questioned why Izuku's eye and hair color changed gradually instead of all at once. Mineta suggested that perhaps their presence was keeping him from succumbing to darkness, as he was fighting for them. Eri recalled that Izuku had mentioned her mother's name, and Kota felt they could be their father's heroes and save him. All Might noted that this was One for All's influence, indicating that Izuku's uncle was helping him maintain his sanity. Nizu suggested that the staff should discuss the matter privately. Ochako asked if they could use the training ground, and Aizawa agreed. Eri handed out notebooks that Izuku had prepared for his classmates, revealing insights about their strengths and weaknesses as well as tips for improvement. They realized that despite everything, Izuku still cared for them. Ochako proposed making copies of the notebooks to support Izuku, and everyone agreed to be there for him. As they left, Eri and Kota were treated to ice cream by Fuyumi. Meanwhile, the adults discussed their concerns. Inko questioned whether Hisashi regretted marrying her, and All Might reassured her that he had no regrets about loving her and their children. Inko expressed her love, and All Might reciprocated. Mitsuki commented on how handsome Hisashi seemed, while Rei and Endeavor listened. Nizu suggested contacting Star and Stripes for assistance. Inko worried about Izuku's safety, and Aizawa noted that only 3 members of the Sinister Six were still missing. Inko expressed a longing to see Hisashi, but All Might refused, stating that Hisashi had the right to decline visitors. Aizawa emphasized that it was crucial to find a way to help Midoriya. The chapter concluded, with hints of what was to come in the next installment. Izuku woke up and made his way to the bathroom to take care of his morning routine. After washing his hands, he looked at himself in the mirror and chuckled, thinking about how he felt like a monster. Suddenly, he felt a light smack on the back of his head and turned to see his mother. His mother reassured him that it was who he was that mattered. She reminded him that nothing would change. He would always be her sweet child with an incredible power that could change the world. He thanked her for her support. She then mentioned there was a sale for girls around Eri's age and asked what Eri liked. Izuku replied that Eri loved cute things, especially dresses and shirts with unicorns or cats, and was particularly fond of Stitch. His mother smiled and told him not to worry, as it wouldn't change who he was. She encouraged him to go outside as the girls were waiting for him. Izuku agreed and stepped outside, where he saw the girls all dressed up. The girls greeted him enthusiastically and explained that they wanted to help him after the recent incident with Sandman. They suggested going on a little outing together, and Izuku agreed to change into his clothes before heading out. Once he was ready, they all headed to the train station and made their way to a cafe to grab something to eat before their day of activities. As they enjoyed their breakfast, two police officers nearby were engaged in a heated discussion about Superior Spider-Man. One officer defended him, claiming he was a hero who saved lives, while the other argued that he was a monster who couldn't act as judge and executioner. Izuku overheard their conversation and smiled, feeling proud that he was making a difference, even if some people didn't appreciate it. After finishing their meal, they paid and headed to the mall. Once inside the first store, Izuku sat down and closed his eyes, entering his mindscape. He found himself talking to his uncle, who expressed concern for him and asked how he was feeling. Izuku admitted he wasn't doing great, feeling the madness creeping in. His uncle reassured him that he still had one for all, which would help him maintain control. Suddenly, Izuku's father joined the conversation, revealing that his mother and sister knew the truth about him. Izuku acknowledged that they would eventually find out, and his father mentioned that they were vocal about wanting him to stop contacting Izuku. His father promised not to hurt them, but urged Izuku to talk to him more often. After this conversation, Izuku woke up to see Felicia watching him. She asked if he was okay, and he explained he was just talking to his uncle and father. Gwen then suggested they head home, but Izuku wanted to enjoy the day, feeling he really needed it. Rogue proposed they do something fun, and Izuku agreed to stop at a certain place. They made their way to the Disney store, where Izuku picked up some Stitch merchandise for Eri. The girls commented on how cute the items were, and Izuku reflected on how much Eri loved Stitch. He then expressed concern about Wade, who hadn't contacted him since his return. Felicia and MJ agreed that it was strange. Meanwhile, Deadpool was on a mission, looking at someone and urging them to protect a photo of Eri smiling from bad people. He then decided it was time to head back home. Back with Izuku, the girls continued to search for the perfect gift for Eri. Although Izuku wanted to protest, he knew he couldn't say no to the girls. As they walked, they overheard a report discussing the recent deaths of Kraven, Electro, and Sandman. Izuku remarked on how often they were discussed, and Gwen noted how much trouble they had caused. Suddenly, someone announced a singing contest with a cash prize. Izuku decided to participate, and the music began. He poured his heart into the performance, expressing his feelings through the lyrics. When the song ended, the announcer declared him the winner, and he thanked everyone for their support. After the outing, they returned home, where Izuku gave the prize money to a mother with her child, bringing a smile to her face. Upon arriving home, they found Miles in tears. Izuku approached him, asking what was wrong. Miles revealed that their Uncle Jefferson had been killed by Vulture. Izuku comforted him, suggesting they go see their mother, who would surely be upset. And so, they set off together, ready to face whatever came next. She stood before her stepdad and mom, both unsure of what to say. Inko began by asking who had taken her to her first father-daughter dance, to which Izumi replied that it was All Might. Inko continued, asking who had given her chocolate during her PRD, and again, Izumi answered All Might. Inko then asked who always made her smile and happy, and once more, Izumi said All Might. All Might reassured Izumi that no matter what, she was his daughter, and nothing would change that. Izumi hugged him, thanking him for being her dad. Inko's gaze fell on a childhood picture of Izuku, but it quickly shifted to a more sinister image of him wearing an evil smirk. Inko declared that he would not be her son if he continued down that path, vowing to stop him from becoming like his father. All Might suggested they head to the auditorium, and they made their way there, noticing how exhausted Katsuki and Shoto looked. Aizawa commented that the students had found a new drive to become stronger, and VK thanked Midoriya for his efforts. Nizu then revealed that he had investigated further and discovered that Hisashi Midoriya was all for one. Aizawa requested permission to take action, but Nizu informed him that he had already sent Lady Nagant, who could approach without being detected. Midnight noted that Lady Nagant had changed significantly, and Endeavor mentioned that Hawks had told him it was due to Midoriya inspiring her to become a hero again. Izuku remarked on the unique ability to change villains into heroes, calling Midoriya a special problem child. 𝗎𝗎𝗓 expressed concern about what they should do to stop All for One. All Might then mentioned he needed to discuss something important regarding young Midoriya's family, specifically his uncle. Inko clarified that she did not have a brother, but All Might explained that he meant Hisashi's younger brother, Yoichi, and proceeded to share the history of One for All. Izuku realized that Izuku's uncle was somehow helping him maintain control. Inko recalled hearing the name Nana Shimura and Kotaro before. Nizu instructed everyone to continue listening to songs, and they all agreed. He chose Tamaki Amakiji, who shyly approached a suitcase to find a good song. After some searching, he handed a box of CDs to Mirio, who selected the first song. Mirio explained that since Tamaki was too shy to say it, he revealed that the song was for some girls from UA, specifically for 𝗎𝗎𝗓. Tamaki blushed as he shared the name of the song, All I Ever Needed. As the music played, Izuku was seen sitting down, having a video call with Miles. They exchanged greetings, and Miles referred to Izuku as the 𝗎𝗓𝗵𝗃𝗲, to which Izuku agreed. Miles asked what had happened, and Izuku shared that he had told them about the girls he had met. Miles teased him about conquering hearts, and as their conversation ended, Izuku expressed his greetings to Miles' mom. The music continued, with lyrics expressing deep affection and the feeling of completeness that someone special brings into one's life. Izuku reflected on how MJ, Felicia, Rogue, and Gwen were open to more girls joining his 𝗎𝗓𝗵, realizing that he was destined to be a king. 𝗎𝗎𝗓 blushed, unsure of how to respond, while Denki proclaimed All hail the new 𝗎𝗓𝗵𝗃𝗲. Mineta complained about the situation, but Denki defended Izuku, praising his qualities. Meanwhile, those who had a crush on Izuku pondered if there was a song that could represent their feelings. Nizu called for more songs, picking 𝗎𝗓𝗓𝗧𝗏, who excitedly went to the box to find a song for herself. 𝗎𝗓𝗓 announced the name of the song, Be My Valentine, as she played it, hoping to see Izuku back in his dorm. Izuku looked at the microphone and began to sing. The music started, and he poured his heart into the lyrics, expressing his feelings for someone special. He sang about searching for the one he wanted to be with, someone who had captured his attention and heart. He reflected on how he never had to wonder why he felt this way, as she was the reason he spent time and money on sweet treats. As he finished, he dedicated the song to the appealing Itsuka Kendo, causing her to blush while her friends from Class 1B teased her about the love song. Setsuna playfully suggested that Itsuka would be Izuku's Valentine, to which Itsuka replied that he knew she liked candy. 𝗎𝗓𝗓 chimed in, expressing their approval of Izuku as their big brother. Nizu then picked a name from the box, calling out Momo Yaoyorozu. Momo expressed her hope of finding a song about herself or 𝗎𝗓𝗓. She searched through the box and found 𝗎𝗓𝗓's song first, choosing it with excitement. Momo announced that the song was for 𝗎𝗓𝗓, who blushed at the gesture. Mina, curious, asked for the name of the song, and Momo revealed it was Perfect the Way You Are. Momo played the song, showcasing her electric guitar skills, while Izuku prepared to sing for the rock star 𝗎𝗓𝗓. As the music played, Izuku sang about 𝗎𝗓𝗓's unique beauty and strength, encouraging her to embrace who she was and not to listen to negativity. He emphasized that she was perfect just the way she was, and the song resonated with everyone present. 𝗎𝗓𝗓 blushed at the compliments, while Mina teased her about her feelings. The atmosphere was filled with light-hearted banter as the girls, including 𝗎𝗎𝗓𝗓, Itsuka, and 𝗎𝗓𝗓, felt a mix of embarrassment and excitement over the songs dedicated to them. Nizu then chose the next person, calling out 𝗎𝗓𝗓. 𝗎𝗓𝗓 decided to return the favor and choose a song for Momo, expressing her intention to pick Momo's song since Momo had chosen hers. She searched through the box until she found it, announcing that the song was for Momo. Momo was pleasantly surprised, and 𝗎𝗓𝗓 revealed that the song was called 10,000 Hours. As the music began, Izuku took his place with his guitar, ready to perform for the Creation Queen. Music started playing, and Momo felt a surge of happiness as she listened to a love song dedicated to the boy who had captured her heart. Nizu announced to the class that they would be taking a break, allowing everyone to do as they pleased for 20 minutes. The students responded enthusiastically. In the next chapter, titled 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗵𝗃 PT2, the narrative shifted to Izumi and Katsumi. Katsumi approached Izumi, expressing her feelings about their situation. She felt conflicted, wanting to blame Katsuki but realizing that they were all responsible for making Aiken's life difficult. Now, Aiken seemed to want nothing to do with them. Shoka agreed, noting how Aiken's relationships with his girlfriends and the love he poured into their songs showed that they had helped mend his broken heart, leaving him happy. Katsumi decided to stop pursuing him, wanting him to live his life freely. Shoka felt the same way, but both Katsumi and Shoka were overwhelmed with emotion, shedding tears as Izumi comforted them with a hug. Meanwhile, Shoto and Katsuki overheard the conversation, feeling guilty for being the reason their sisters were heartbroken. They pondered what they should do next. In another part of the story, Eri was with Kota, discussing their hopes for the future. Kota wondered if they would have more mothers, and Eri expressed her longing for a big family filled with siblings. They both agreed that they needed to grow stronger to protect their future family. As they returned to the auditorium, Nizu was on the phone, discussing an important matter. He confirmed that Lady Nagant had arrived in New York City and would soon find Midoriya. Inko expressed her wish to speak with him, but Nizu insisted on talking to Midoriya first to ensure he was safe and to gather all necessary information. Nizu then shifted the focus back to the class, suggesting they listen to Midoriya songs. Everyone was eager to hear what was next. 𝗧𝗵𝗃, one of the teachers, announced he would choose a song from the box set, piquing everyone's curiosity. He selected a song titled Rumors, dedicating it to Midnight, who smirked and encouraged him to play it. As the music began, they saw Izuku standing in front of a microphone, wearing headphones, ready to share his talent. Music starts. She has long hair, and it's clear she's captivating. All the boys can't help but stare. It's a habit. The clothes she wears, a short skirt and a jacket, add to her allure. He just wants to be alone with her, to share a moment. Rumors circulate about her fantastic figure, all natural and perfectly shaped. From head to toe, they say she's elastic. Whispers suggest she has a reputation, but he won't believe it until he sees it for himself. He's always learned better through hands-on experience, so he hopes for a private session if she's willing. They say she's complicated, but that only makes her more intriguing. He's not the type to wait around. He's captivated and ready to play the game. She has a figure that turns heads, and she enjoys keeping the party alive. The rumors have him feeling lonely, and he wants to know more about her. He's heard she looks good in a sundress and when she's dressed down. She enjoys getting away and staying out late. He's heard she's had a few relationships that didn't go well, and that some girls envy her because of the attention she gets. They say she's too hot or too cold, and her origins remain a mystery. While she may look young, her demeanor suggests otherwise. From what he's gathered, she can be unpredictable. The boys say she's a heavenly presence, but he's unsure if she's a blessing. Her eyes have a sharpness that can cut, and she's stuck in his mind like an obsession. As the music plays, he reflects on his feelings. He never expected to have Midnight as a teacher, and he knows Miles would be envious of her presence. Midnight considers speaking to him after class in an empty room, but Aizawa interjects, expressing his appreciation for her not corrupting his student. Midnight reminds him that he is of legal age and there's nothing stopping her. Nizu calls for the next participant, and 𝗬𝗪𝗎 steps up. She chooses a song for Ochako, who blushes at the attention. 𝗬𝗪 plays Pretty Brown Eyes, and the scene shifts to Izuku in his dorm room, playing the melody. He admires a girl who looks like a model, her figure striking. He feels lost for words, captivated by her presence. He wonders what she's doing later and hopes to spend some time with her. The girl is lively, enjoying the party atmosphere, and he finally gathers the courage to approach her. As the song continues, he expresses his longing to spend time with her, hoping she feels the same. He imagines a carefree moment, inviting her to join him and leave the party behind. The music ends, and he dedicates the song to Ochako, his first friend since returning to Japan. Ochako floats in the air, embarrassed, but 𝗬𝗪 helps her down, bringing a smile to her face. Mina comments on the absence of a couple of classmates, hoping she and Toru are included in the 𝗎𝗏𝗄𝗏. Kirishima wonders what Midoriya is up to, while Mineta makes a crude remark about him. Denki slaps Mineta's head, pointing out that Midoriya isn't a pervert and that the girls prefer him over Mineta. Ibra blushes at Denki's comment, and her friends notice her interest, teasing her about it later. 𝗍𝗫 calls for the next participant, and Toru 𝗧𝗪𝗃 excitedly chooses a song for Mina. She plays One in a Million, showcasing Izuku in a tuxedo, standing confidently in front of a microphone on a rooftop. Aizawa remarks that it's the rooftop of Izuku's apartment, and the music begins again. Izuku admired the fabulous Mina Ishido, feeling a spark of inspiration. Mina expressed her excitement about the song and playfully mentioned asking his girlfriends if they would be open to sharing him. The group chimed in, with Denki suggesting that Mina should prove herself first. Kirishima agreed, while Kyoko wondered how Mina planned to approach the situation. Mina simply stated that she would ask them directly. Inko recalled how Hisashi had attracted many ladies during their outings, prompting 𝗍𝗫 to announce that there were only 2 more performances left for the day. He picked a name, and Pixie Bob eagerly prepared to find a good song. Midnight encouraged Bob to choose wisely, and he soon found a track that he dedicated to 𝗵𝗃𝗄, who blushed at the attention. As the music began, the atmosphere shifted. The song played, capturing the essence of a confident woman who knew her worth. The lyrics celebrated independence and strength, resonating with everyone in the room. Izuku took to the mic, feeling the rhythm and energy of the moment. The song described a woman who moved with grace and confidence, someone who didn't need anyone else to validate her. The lyrics highlighted her ability to handle her own affairs, making those around her proud. The admiration for such independence was palpable, and it inspired a sense of camaraderie among the listeners. Izuku found himself lost in thought, wondering if his girlfriends would allow him to appreciate 𝗵𝗃𝗄's impressive presence. The playful banter among the group continued, with Kota blushing at the comments made about their preferences in women. Mandalay reminded everyone that they were still young, while Inko speculated about Hisashi's tastes. 𝗵𝗃𝗄, ever confident, declared that she would be open to any arrangements if Izuku desired. Midnight urged everyone to stay focused, and 𝗍𝗫 called for the next name. Yuga Aoyama stepped forward, ready to shine. He selected a song for 𝗧𝗪𝗃, and as the melody filled the room, Izuku found himself drawing, inspired by the music and the vibrant atmosphere around him. Izuku finished the drawing he had been working on, contemplating how his AFO quirk allowed him to see things that were invisible. He hoped that 𝗧𝗪𝗃 would appreciate how she looked and wouldn't think of him as a pervert. He showed the pictures to his classmates, who reacted with surprise and admiration. Toru was curious if that was really her, while Mina complimented her beauty. Momo agreed, noting that Midoriya's quirk enabled him to see things others could not. Toru, feeling flustered, realized that he must have seen her in her costume. Kyoko pointed out that he usually spoke to Toru with his eyes closed, which made them all reflect on how sweet it was of him to do that. 𝗍𝗫 then announced that class was over for the day, and he needed to speak with young Midoriya. As the next chapter began, Izuku arrived at the meeting point and spotted Miles. He noted that this was where Vulture would be. Miles mentioned the upcoming funeral and expressed his reluctance to speak about his father, who had struggled with alcohol. Izuku empathized, sharing that he understood the pain of having a difficult father. He encouraged Miles to honor his mother by trying to remember the good times, even if they were few. Miles contemplated Izuku's words, realizing that his father's struggles motivated him to become a hero who embodies hope. They discussed their plans, and Miles offered Izuku a shield quirk before they jumped down and approached the factory. Kicking the door open, they were met with a group of villains. Vulture confronted them, but they declared their intent for revenge. The villains charged, and Izuku used his abilities to fend them off, demonstrating his newfound strength. He captured one villain and, with a smirk, took their quirk, leaving them powerless. Suddenly, Izuku noticed a child at his feet. Vulture demanded the child back, revealing his sinister intentions. Izuku quickly created a clone to distract the kid while he pursued Vulture. He engaged in a fierce battle, landing blows that broke Vulture's mask and left him reeling. Izuku demanded to know where the other children were, but 𝗲𝗪 managed to escape momentarily. Determined, Izuku activated his new quirk, sprouting wings that allowed him to float. He accelerated towards 𝗲𝗪, catching up and landing on a rooftop. As he approached, he heard a shot and spotted a villain with a knife on the ground. Lady Nagant was nearby, and 𝗲𝗪 threatened Izuku. However, Izuku swiftly disarmed 𝗲𝗪 and took his quirk, rendering him vulnerable. Miles arrived with the clone and the child, confronting 𝗲𝗪. He revealed his connection to Jefferson Davis, his father, and exacted his revenge. After Miles dealt with 𝗲𝗪, Izuku's clone merged back with him, and they took the child, 𝗳𝗪𝗄, to safety. Izuku learned that 𝗳𝗪𝗄 was just 2 years old and offered to be his new father. 𝗳𝗪𝗄 happily accepted, and Izuku felt a sense of warmth at the thought of expanding his family. As they prepared to leave, police sirens approached, signaling that help was on the way. They headed back to the dorms, feeling accomplished and hopeful for the future. They met with their family. Emma expressed her concern about Izuku not informing them when he would leave to fight. Izuku apologized, and Gwen questioned why he had a child with him. MJ guessed that he had adopted the boy, and Felicia eagerly hoped that was true. Rogue commented on how adorable the child was and asked for his name. Izuku introduced the boy as 𝗳𝗪𝗄 and confirmed that he had indeed adopted him. Emma playfully remarked about being a grandma again, while 𝗳𝗪𝗄 smiled and greeted everyone. Izuku introduced 𝗳𝗪𝗄 to his mamas, Gwen, Rogue, Felicia, and MJ, and his grandma. The mamas all embraced 𝗳𝗪𝗄 at once, and he commented on how pretty they were. They began discussing what outfits they wanted to dress him in, with suggestions ranging from onesies to suits, costumes, and sailor outfits. 𝗳𝗪𝗄, however, found Rogue's suggestion a bit scary. Izuku then proposed they go shopping for him, and Emma agreed. Before they left, Izuku reminded Lady Nagant to enjoy the apartment and mentioned they would contact Nizu the next day. Lady Nagant acknowledged that she had some unfinished business to attend to. As they parted ways, Izuku reflected on his remaining challenges, knowing he still had to deal with Mysterio, Dr. Octopus, and Kingpin. He quietly vowed that his revenge would soon be complete. Meanwhile, Kingpin was in his underground bunker, frustrated that he had already lost 4 members of the Sinister Six. Dr. Octopus tried to reassure him, and Mysterio echoed the sentiment. Kingpin, however, had a plan and pressed a button that activated 2 symbiotes. They emerged and took control of their hosts, making the situation more intriguing for Kingpin. At the training ground, Class 1A was hard at work, training for hours with a shared goal of not being a burden but rather being equal to one another. They noticed Izuku walking alone toward an army of villains, and their concern for him grew. Aizawa observed the scene while sipping his coffee, reflecting on Izuku's tendency to remain optimistic despite his dark past. He recalled Oboro, noting the similarities between them. After several hours, the class returned to the auditorium to listen to more of Izuku's music. Nizu welcomed everyone back and prepared to start the next segment. Mina Ashido eagerly volunteered to go next but suggested taking a break from love songs. Midnight confirmed there were still 4 songs left, and Mina decided to choose one she liked. She found a song titled "Stand Out" and played it, capturing everyone's attention. As the melody filled the room, Miles prepared to make an announcement for their junior's last day of school. The principal, caught off guard, fell through a trapdoor as the curtains opened to reveal a mysterious figure in a yellow outfit. The crowd cheered as the figure sang, energizing the atmosphere. The lyrics conveyed a message of determination and the longing to stand out from the crowd. The performance captivated everyone, and as the song concluded, the mysterious figure made a quick exit, leaving the teachers bewildered. Miles and Izuku met up afterward, with Izuku excitedly discussing the thrill of the performance. They shared a laugh about the principal's reaction and their escapade. Mina playfully remarked on Izuku's newfound bad boy persona, and the HRM imagined him in a leather jacket, exuding confidence. Nizu mused that if he had known Izuku could pull off such a stunt, he would have made him a student long ago, much to the staff's dismay. Manga Fukudashi then took his turn, selecting a song that he warned might not be suitable for young children. Mandalay and Mirio facilitated the kids' viewing of something else, ensuring everyone enjoyed the performance in their own way. Manga, the name of the song was 𝗧𝗵𝗲. He played the song, and Izuku appeared in the studio wearing a tuxedo, making him look incredibly sharp. This sight caused his friends to blush. Miles acknowledged Izuku, confirming he was ready. As the music started, the lyrics conveyed a sense of exploration and excitement. The singer invited someone to embrace their adventurous side, suggesting they could enjoy themselves without any reservations. The atmosphere was charged with energy, and the singer expressed a longing to connect deeply, encouraging freedom and enjoyment. After the song ended, Izuku asked how it went, and Miles remarked that his friends seemed impressed, indicating it was a good performance. The class was left speechless, realizing that their friend had created a bold song that surprised them all. 𝗍𝗫 then decided to continue the session, selecting a new name. 𝗬𝗍 stepped forward, ready to present his song titled, Do What We Do. As he played it, Izuku appeared on the cover, looking casual in jeans. This caught everyone's attention. The music began, and the lyrics described a playful and carefree interaction, emphasizing the joy of being together and enjoying each other's company. The singer encouraged taking their time, suggesting that the best moments come from simply being with someone special. When the song concluded, Izuku expressed his excitement. About the performance, Miles suggested they should create a video based on it, and Izuku, with a smirk, contemplated who would be in the video, causing his friends to blush even more. Inko commented on how Hisashi had a similar charm, while Izumi noted how he had captured many hearts. Midnight expressed her willingness to participate, but Aizawa playfully warned her to stay away from his troublesome student. Mike chimed in with a joke, and Aizawa dismissed him. 𝗍𝗫 then moved on to the next name, which was myheroacademia. Mineta eagerly anticipated his turn, curious about what Izuku had prepared. As Mandalay took Eri and Kota out for ice cream, Mineta selected a song called Ride. The music played, revealing Izuku in a stylish suit, capturing everyone's attention once again. Izuku and Miles were ready as the music began to play. The atmosphere was electric, filled with excitement and anticipation. 𝗍𝗫 suggested that they take a break, prompting Mineta to express his newfound admiration for Midoriya, claiming he now considered him a god. Denki chimed in, stating that no matter what Mineta did, he could never reach Midoriya's level. AM checked in on Inko, who was still in shock over Izuku's surprising behavior. AM agreed, and they decided to assist the girls. Inko expressed her relief that Mandalay had taken Eri and Kota away from Izuku, fearing his reaction if Eri had heard anything. In the auditorium, Inko sat down as the projector turned on, revealing Hisashi. He greeted Inko, who was wary of his intentions. Hisashi wanted to discuss their son, but Inko felt they had lost the right to call him that after everything they had done. Hisashi insisted that no matter what, Izuku would always be their son. Inko reminded him that Izuku already had a father, the one Hisashi had killed, and a mother. AFO entered the conversation, asking Izumi if she would be willing to confront Izuku if he lost his humanity and turned to darkness. Izumi declared that she would not kill him. Instead, she would save him. AFO warned that if Izuku became a villain, he would pose a threat, having already taken lives since he was 14. He left, leaving a tense atmosphere behind. AM checked on Inko and Izumi, ensuring they were okay, and both reassured her that they were. Inko requested that AM keep the conversation a secret, to which she promised. After some time, the girls regained consciousness, recalling the songs and blushing at the memories. They returned to find everyone waiting for them. 𝗍𝗫 informed the group that Lady Nagant had reported Vulture's demise, which raised concerns about the remaining members of the Sinister Six. Izumi asked about Vulture's condition, and 𝗍𝗫 revealed that Lady Nagant had been afraid of him, noting that he had laughed while committing his crimes. The group worried about Izuku, especially with only 2 villains left. 𝗍𝗫 then shared that something had stopped Vulture, specifically Izuku, who had found a toddler boy whose family had been killed and decided to adopt him. Eri excitedly realized she would be a big sister, while Kota embraced his new role as a big brother. 𝗍𝗫 planned to speak with Izuku the following morning to reveal the truth. He then announced that they would continue with the 𝗧𝗵𝗲 songs, selecting one for 𝗎𝗓𝗍 called 𝗧𝗪𝗐. Tsuyu eagerly requested that it be played. The music filled the room as Izuku sat down with a ukulele, ready to perform. Momo asked Todoroki if he could make an ice pack, and he agreed. She quickly prepared one to help Tsuyu cool down, as she was feeling overwhelmed with happiness about having a song dedicated to her. Kyoka noted that only 3 songs were left, prompting Mina to wonder who they were meant for. Kirishima speculated about which girls close to Midoriya had not yet received a song. The last 3 girls, Izumi, Shoka, and Katsumi, understood that those songs were not intended for them. They felt a pang of hurt, knowing they had caused Izuku to lose any affection he might have had for them. Despite this, they were still girls who longed for romance with the boy they admired. Nizu announced that the next person to choose a song was myheroacademia. She approached the remaining songs, contemplating which one might be hers. May expressed her confusion about the title of one song, Trust Fund Baby, questioning why it was named that. Mina suggested they play the song to find out. As they did, Izuku appeared in the classroom, covered in smoke and scratches. Inko, concerned, asked what had happened to him. May explained that he had been helping with her machines. Eri, curious, asked about the babies, and Mirio clarified that she meant her inventions. The music began, and the lyrics conveyed a longing for a girl who was genuine and down-to-earth, contrasting with those who flaunted wealth and status. The singer expressed a preference for independence and authenticity over superficiality. The message resonated with the group, leading Momo to question whether Izuku disliked girls with money. Kyoka interpreted it as a rejection of snobby, rich girls who thought too highly of themselves, suggesting that he preferred someone like Momo, who was humble and not showy about her wealth. May agreed with this sentiment, while Mina noted how well Izuku knew how to make a girl feel special. Mirko reflected on what his father had taught him. Mandalay suggested that Koda would have a HRM when he grew older. Eri expressed her reluctance, saying that her father would be sad if she got a boyfriend, and she didn't want to upset him. Momo teased Eri about her father's overprotectiveness, and Nizu considered whether to mention that it had been notarized, deciding instead to move on to the next participant. Mirko chose the second-to-last song, picking the left one, which was dedicated to Lady Nagant, titled Appealing Monster. Nizu noted that their fight had been quite destructive, with 𝗵𝗃𝗏 adding that they had nearly obliterated half of an abandoned area. The students of Class 1A felt frustrated, realizing they were merely bystanders while Izuku took center stage. As the music began, they watched Izuku on a rooftop, starting to sing. The song conveyed a mix of admiration and fear, describing a captivating yet dangerous presence. It spoke of a love that was both thrilling and terrifying, an appealing monster that the singer found irresistible despite the risks involved. Mirko remarked on how much Lady Nagant had changed, noting that the new hero commissioner had given her a chance after her past actions. Nizu mentioned that Midoriya had spoken to her alone, and she had accepted Lady Nagant back, leaving everyone curious about what he had said to her. As they prepared to listen to the final love song of the day, Nizu expressed his hope to learn more from Midoriya in their upcoming conversation. The next participant was Shoka Todoroki, who approached the last song with mixed emotions. She saw the title and felt a wave of sadness but steeled herself. She dedicated the song to her sister Fuyumi, who immediately refused to listen, wanting to end the class. Shoka reassured her sister that she understood Izuku might not feel the same way, expressing her willingness to let him go for his happiness. Izumi and Katsumi decided to support Shoka, pledging to be there for her as she navigated her feelings. As the song began, it spoke of seeking a new path and the comfort found in companionship. It expressed deep affection and gratitude, emphasizing the importance of being there for one another through life's ups and downs. Fuyumi blushed at the heartfelt sentiments, while Rei felt happy for her sister but heartbroken for Shoka, who couldn't be with Izuku. 𝗵𝗃𝗏 reflected on his daughter's struggles, feeling helpless to change Izuku's mind, acknowledging the pain he had endured. Shoka found the song lovely as she left with Izumi and Katsumi, while their mothers approached them. Shoto and Katsuki understood their responsibility to ensure their sister's happiness, even if it meant stepping back from their own desires. The chapter concluded, setting the stage for the next installment, where truths would be revealed and new challenges awaited. It was Saturday morning, and 𝗎𝗎 awaited a call from Lady Nagant, ready to discuss the events that had unfolded. 𝗎𝗎 observed Midoriya Izuku and asked how everyone was doing. Izuku replied that he was fine, but 𝗎𝗎 pressed him about his past, wondering why he hadn't shared more. Izuku expressed that he preferred to move on and didn't dwell on it. 𝗎𝗎 reminded him that they were aware of Frank being the Punisher, Izuku being Superior Spider-Man, and the truth about his father, 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗲. He mentioned that 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗲 had revealed how close Izuku's quirk had come to taking over. 𝗎𝗎 urged Izuku to return, but Izuku insisted he needed to finish what he started because it was his responsibility. Izuku then pointed out that there was another box of 3 CDs in a hidden compartment of his suitcase. 𝗎𝗎 inquired about the contents, and Izuku hinted at more secrets that would soon be revealed, including the reasons behind his and Izumi's survival and 𝗵𝗃𝗲's past. 𝗎𝗎 was curious but unsure of what to expect. Izuku promised to send a message after they listened to a song called 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗲, instructing 𝗎𝗎 to play a recording afterward. After hanging up, 𝗎𝗎 felt a sense of unease as he noticed the change in Izuku. He seemed almost inhuman. Leaving his office, he found Izawa and other staff members waiting. Izawa asked if there was a problem, and 𝗎𝗎 explained that Izuku was not well. He revealed that 75% of Izuku's hair had turned white, his right pupil was entirely blue, and the left one had only hints of green. The aura surrounding Izuku was unsettling. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 asked what they could do, and 𝗎𝗎 mentioned the 3 songs that contained secrets about Izuku and Izumi. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 was concerned about the implications of these secrets. 𝗎𝗎 suggested they listen to the songs together. They all headed to the auditorium, where everyone was gathered. 𝗎𝗎 noted that Izuku was changing, and not for the better. Kirishima inquired about the nature of the secrets, but 𝗎𝗎 could only say they involved Izuku and Izumi. Izumi was confused about her connection to this. 𝗎𝗎 explained that the songs would reveal why they were alive. 𝗎𝗎 approached the suitcase and opened a zipper to find a box containing the 3 songs. He decided they would choose the songs and discover their meanings. 𝗬𝗵𝗃𝗲 stepped forward and selected a song titled No Way Out. As she played it, a scene unfolded showing a 12-year-old Izuku on a rooftop, visibly distressed. He punched a wall in frustration, and Miles asked if he was all right. Izuku, filled with anger, expressed his turmoil about his biological father being the world's #1 villain and the burden of having his quirk. The music continued, reflecting Izuku's internal struggle as he grappled with his identity and the weight of his past. Frank Castle appeared in the vision, offering words of encouragement, reminding Izuku that he was not defined by his lineage. The support from his friends and family resonated with him, emphasizing that love, not BLD, created a family. They reassured him that they would always stand by his side, no matter the circumstances. Next, Kojiro Bando chose the second song, Fight Together. As he played it, the scene shifted to an older Izuku standing in front of his father's grave. He spoke to his father, expressing his commitment to attend UA and fulfill the promise he made. He acknowledged the difficulty of being apart from his family but reaffirmed that they were connected no matter what. He asked his father to watch over them as he embarked on this new journey. Music started as the characters prepared to set sail just before dawn. Tomorrow awaited them, and they felt no regrets. They had made up their minds, knowing that despite the challenges ahead, their hearts would remain strong from day to day. There was a destination they all longed to reach, a light they aimed to fly toward. They believed that together, they could overcome any obstacle, and as they continued on their journey, their bonds would only grow stronger. The power was in their hands, and it was time to move forward into the new world calling to them. No matter the vast seas between them, they would stand by each other, unafraid, ready to face whatever came their way. They would always remember that they fought together. Izuku recalled the memories of his family, cherishing the good times they had shared, even as he grappled with the loss of his father. He reflected on the journey they had taken, the promises they made to carry on despite the burdens they bore. He stood in his UA uniform on his first day, hesitating as he felt the weight of uncertainty. But then, a gentle push from behind encouraged him to move forward. He turned to see Frank's spirit nodding in support. As the sun rose, it illuminated their path, filling him with hope. With a determined smile, Izuku stepped inside, ready to embrace the future. The scene shifted to Izumi, who expressed that Izuku truly deserved to be there more than anyone else. Katsumi agreed, acknowledging their past mistakes toward him. Shoka reflected on how they had treated him as villains, taking responsibility for their actions. Endeavor recognized their realization and encouraged them to be friends with Izuku, emphasizing the importance of support. The group awaited Midoriya's return, eager to talk to him about something significant. Nizu called on 𝗎𝗪𝗎𝗧𝗄, who expressed her choice. A notification caught Nizu's attention, revealing that Izuku had sent something that might hold the secret of their origins. 𝗎𝗪𝗎𝗧 noted that the song titled 𝗵𝗃𝗲𝗄 was dedicated to Izuku's grandmother, sparking curiosity among them. Inko shared her lack of knowledge about her mother, while Izumi questioned whether Hisashi had mentioned his family. As they played the song, they envisioned Izuku on a rooftop, guitar in hand, playing a melody that resonated with their emotions. Izuku confronted 𝗧𝗄, questioning his motives and the connection to his family. 𝗧𝗄 revealed that All Might had passed on one for all to him, and he acknowledged his relationship with Nana Shimura, Izuku's maternal grandmother. The revelation shocked everyone, especially Inko, who had been raised without knowledge of her mother. Izuku expressed his anger, stating that 𝗧𝗄's intentions were purely for power, not love. 𝗧𝗄 smirked and vanished, leaving the group in disbelief over the truth of their origins. As they processed the revelations, Nizu suggested taking a break to gather their thoughts. Izumi felt a wave of despair, believing she was a mistake born from 𝗧𝗄's longing for strong children. However, Izuku's message reminded her that their identities were defined by their choices and the love they received, not by 𝗧𝗄's actions. With renewed determination, they decided to take a break, while Inko sought to learn more about her mother. The chapter concluded, setting the stage for the next adventure. Izuku expressed gratitude for the support he received, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Izuku sat back down, closing his eyes to find himself in a familiar room filled with seats. He thought of his grandmother, Nana, and the conversation they had. She reminded him that Inko would eventually discover the truth. Nana expressed her belief that her husband was a good man who kept his promises. Izuku acknowledged that Inko and Izumi were safe with All Might, who he trusted to protect them, as they appeared to be a true family. Nana pointed out that Izuku was also part of that family, even at UA. He imagined himself differently, with blue hair and mismatched pupils, feeling like a monster. Despite his doubts, Nana insisted that he remained a hero in her eyes, even if he felt his hands were stained from past actions. He chuckled, recalling the power he wielded and the pleas for mercy he had ignored, only to be playfully slapped by Nana for his dark humor. He assured her that he would save Tenko, who was family, and Nana promised to help him. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, Frank was driving with Vulture tied to the car, vowing revenge on Muscular and Overhaul. Back in the living world, Izuku heard police radio chatter about Rhino causing chaos, prompting him to rush into action. He donned his costume, contacted his team, and prepared to confront the threat. Upon arriving at the scene, Izuku found the police commissioner and his team in distress. As Rhino charged at him, Izuku skillfully dodged and used his webs to rescue his father-in-law and the officers, urging them to flee. George, witnessing Izuku's determination, felt a sense of hope for justice. Izuku faced Rhino, who boasted about his strength, but Izuku was quick on his feet, evading attacks while landing his own blows. He playfully taunted Rhino, only to be thrown against a wall. As he recovered, he realized his team had arrived, and he was reminded of the low blow Rhino had dealt by harming the commissioner's wife. Just then, he was surprised to see Gwen, who had learned the truth about her mother's fate. She was furious and wanted revenge, but Izuku urged her to remain calm, reminding her of the good they had done together and the lives they had saved. Gwen broke down in tears, and Izuku comforted her, emphasizing that their hands were meant to give life, not take it. As George approached, Izuku reassured him that he would handle the situation. He closed his eyes, focusing on his quirks, and combined them to create a new power. With his newfound ability, he declared himself ready for battle. Izuku charged at Rhino, delivering a powerful punch that sent him crashing to the ground. He unleashed a flurry of strikes, his fists becoming a whirlwind of ice and fury. As the fight escalated, Izuku felt a rush of exhilaration, reveling in the power he wielded. He stood over Rhino, feeling a mix of triumph and darkness as he realized the implications of his actions. His team stepped back, sensing the change in him, but Izuku remained focused. He swung away at full speed, leaving his friends concerned for his well-being. Gwen and George arrived, worried about Izuku's state of mind. They discussed the need to find him, as police arrived to manage the situation. Meanwhile, Izuku was confronted by AFO, who encouraged him to embrace his darker side. Just then, Wade appeared, bringing news about Mysterio and a troubling alliance with Venom. They quickly formulated a plan, with Wade promising a special gift for Eri and Koda. As they prepared to leave, Deadpool playfully interrupted, ensuring the surprise remained intact. As they arrived at their destination, they found the doors locked. With determination, they kicked the door open and made their way inside, ready to face whatever awaited them in the empty theater. Izuku faced off against Mr. Fishbowl, who taunted him, suggesting that by the end, Izuku would regret their encounter. Izuku cracked his knuckles, feeling the anger bubbling inside him, eager to release his pent-up frustration. Mr. Fishbowl warned him that he would be facing his minions. Deadpool, ready for action, drew his swords and declared it was time to go. Izuku was prepared to unleash his full power as they charged toward the 30 minions, splitting up to take them on in pairs. As they fought, dodging attacks and taking down their foes, Izuku noted the strength of their opponents. Deadpool acknowledged this, and suddenly, a woman cried out in distress. Just as one of the minions was about to strike her down, Izuku jumped in front, taking a blow to his right eye, which caused him to cry out in pain. Deadpool retaliated, shooting the attacker while Izuku used his spider legs to stab back at the enemy. The woman expressed concern for Izuku's injury, but he reassured her to escape while they handled the situation. As she fled, Izuku's mask was torn away, revealing his left eye, which had streaks of blue. Mr. Fishbowl reveled in the chaos, claiming it was all part of their plan. Izuku, determined, apologized to Yaoyorozu for using her quirk without permission. He combined his creation and sound quirks with another elemental ability, crafting something unique. Deadpool recognized it as a guitar, but Izuku clarified that it was no ordinary instrument, it was a powerful rock guitar. The sound waves from his playing caused immense discomfort to their enemies, making them writhe in agony. Mr. Fishbowl's minions struggled against the overwhelming sound, and Izuku urged them to surrender. However, Mr. Fishbowl refused, and the battle continued. As Deadpool threw a grenade, igniting Mr. Fishbowl in flames, they separated for a moment. Deadpool then used a small vacuum to capture Venom, who was also in the fray, expressing frustration at their predicament. Izuku confronted Mysterio, demanding the ring before it was too late for him. Mysterio, defiant, created numerous clones of himself. Izuku and Deadpool stood back to back, executing coordinated attacks. Izuku rolled over Deadpool's back, kicking one of the clones into dust, while Deadpool fired his SMG, making the clones vanish one by one. Izuku used his scythe to eliminate 5 more, then landed a punch on the real Mysterio, cracking his helmet. He swiftly took Mysterio down, claiming his quirk as his own. Mysterio pleaded for his power back, but Izuku refused, bringing him closer and warning him about Kingpin. In a decisive move, Izuku ended Mysterio's threat, leaving his body lifeless on the ground. He removed Mysterio's mask, feeling a sense of transformation within himself. Just then, Izuku was unexpectedly slapped by Felicia, who rushed to embrace him, followed by Rogue and MJ, both in tears, apologizing for their earlier actions. Izuku comforted them, assuring them it was all right. Gwen pointed out Izuku's scar, and Rogue remarked that it looked cool. Izuku, feeling a mix of emotions, accepted their compliments. Deadpool, eager to leave, mentioned he needed to get a pet for Kotaro. Izuku agreed, while Gwen cautioned Deadpool to avoid anything dangerous. They watched as Deadpool departed in a helicopter designed to resemble him. As night fell, they returned home to find 𝗵𝗃 with 𝗂𝗫, who excitedly greeted his father. Izuku reassured 𝗵𝗃 about his scar, explaining it was from saving someone. 𝗂𝗫 admired it, wanting one of his own, but Izuku gently reminded him that his mother and grandmother might not approve. They decided to play Black Ops 6 together, despite 𝗵𝗃's insistence on avoiding zombies. Gwen shared that her dad was retiring, preferring to be a grandpa rather than a police commissioner. The group expressed their unwavering support for Izuku, promising to stand by him no matter what. As Izuku and 𝗂𝗫 played, 𝗂𝗫 threw a knife into the air, scoring a point in the game. They continued their playful bonding as father and son, enjoying their time together. The chapter concluded with a shift in perspective, as Toshinori presented Nana with a Mother's Day card, bringing a smile to her face. Inko reflected on how wonderful Nana was and wished she could have met her. 𝗵𝗃 noted that Inko reminded him of Nana in many ways. They discussed Izuku's connection to Shirogaki, realizing the importance of family and their commitment to saving him together. As they returned to their discussions, Nizu informed them that Lady Nagant would be coming back, but there was uncertainty about when he would return after seeking revenge. 𝗂𝗫 expressed understanding of his father's need for closure, while Mandalay cautioned against the longing for vengeance. The group pondered why the USA had not acted against their adversaries, leaving questions lingering in the air. Let's continue with Kinoko Komori. She approached the suitcase, searching for a unique song. After a moment, she selected one. She announced her choice, "I choose this one." Setsuna inquired about the name of the song. Kinoko replied, "False Pretense." As the music began, the scene shifted to Izuku and his uncle Eren arriving at a gym. Kirishima expressed excitement, saying it would be a great workout song. Tetsu encouraged everyone to get moving. Izuku was seen punching the handbags that his uncle held, though he accidentally hit his uncle in the head after a punch. The next scene showed Izuku attempting to throw a brick, but it didn't go very far. His uncle demonstrated the proper technique, throwing it much farther. The lyrics played on, reflecting the struggles and challenges Izuku faced. He was shown hitting a bag with his left hand but struggled to lift his leg high, causing him to stumble. He then attempted to climb a ladder, only making it halfway. Izuku and Miles were seen tossing dumbbells in the air, trying to catch them with the other hand. They also attempted to eat raw eggs, with Miles quickly spitting them out. As the song continued, Izuku focused on stretching, aiming to become more limber. He placed his leg on Miles' shoulder, attempting to balance as Miles helped him lift it. Izuku was depicted punching his uncle's stomach, but it didn't seem to affect Eren. Instead, Eren playfully returned a punch, making Izuku realize how tough training could be. Back at home, Izuku did push-ups with one of his girlfriends sitting on his back. The scene transitioned to Izuku throwing a heavier object further, a smile on his face as he succeeded. He climbed the ladder all the way to the top and then back down, feeling accomplished. Izuku was shown pulling a dumbbell up, tossing it in the air, and catching it with the other hand. He practiced 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃 moves, making his opponent tap out. As he punched a bag, he kicked it hard, sending it flying to the other side, a triumphant scream escaping him. His uncle playfully punched him, but Izuku remained unfazed, enjoying the challenge. The training montage concluded with Izuku kicking high in the air, striking a wooden plank. As the music ended, Izuku breathed heavily, feeling exhilarated. Eren praised him, saying he was amazing. Miles joined in, celebrating their hard work. Kirishima decided he would ask Midoriya to train him, and Tetsu expressed his interest as well. The others chimed in, eager to join. Endeavor remarked on how great Eren was as an uncle to Izuku, with Masaru agreeing wholeheartedly. Rei and Mitsuki nodded in agreement, acknowledging the support Izuku had. Nizu suggested it was time to move on to the next person, and 𝗵𝗃𝗃 stepped up. He approached the suitcase and chose the first song he grabbed. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 announced that it was a feature with his brother Miles, titled Classic. As the music played, the scene shifted to Izuku and Miles in front of a crowd at a high school talent show, with a banner overhead. MJ was recording the moment. The principal introduced them, and the curtains opened to reveal Izuku and Miles in suits, microphones in hand. Izuku began to sing, captivating the audience with his performance. The crowd cheered as he continued, expressing his admiration and excitement. Miles joined in, showcasing his own talents, and together they entertained the audience. As the song concluded, Izuku thanked everyone, and Miles humorously referred to them as cinnamon roll and dark chocolate. The girls in the audience playfully teased them, calling Izuku a cinnamon roll. Izuku graciously acknowledged the compliments, while Miles echoed his sentiments. They exited the stage as MJ turned off the camera. Mina expressed that he should have sung at the cultural festival, and Kyoka agreed, noting that he sings better than she does. She wondered if he would do a duet with her, to which Momo confidently replied that he would. Inko shared that he really had fun with his family, and she was glad about it. Mitsuki interrupted, cautioning Inko not to say that. Inko then revealed that she needed to talk to Izuku one more time, and if he wanted, they could have a relationship, but only if he desired it. She planned to ask him what he wanted in return, even if it meant not talking to Mitsuki and Kyoka again. She apologized, expressing her appreciation for her relationship with them, but emphasized that she wanted her son even more. Rei reassured Inko that she understood and would support her in any way she could. Mitsuki seemed hesitant, but Rei reminded her that they also had a part in this situation, acknowledging that their children's egos stemmed from their own actions. They needed to accept their responsibility. Katsumi chimed in, agreeing with her mother and urging Mitsuki to accept Inko's request. Mitsuki finally relented. Nizu announced that the next person to perform was Nito Monoma. Nito approached the remaining songs, searching for a good one, and eventually found one titled Cheerleader, which his brother sang. He played the song, and the scene shifted to Izuku, who was relaxing with Miles. Izuku felt it was a good time to enjoy some tacos from Don Juan, along with churros from his wife. Eri expressed her longing to meet her uncle, and Mario reassured her that it would happen soon. Nizu informed everyone that there was one more song before they would wrap up for the day. The next performer was Yoguru Kamikiri, who looked through the remaining songs, hoping to find something amazing. He chose a song called Feel It, but Eri suggested they look for something more suitable for younger viewers. Koda agreed with her. Denki commented that if they listened to this song, Izuku would be quite upset. Kamikiri played the song, and the scene shifted to Izuku, his uncle Eren, and Miles in the booths, enjoying the music. The music played, and the atmosphere was lively. The performers were enthusiastic, and the energy in the room was palpable. As the song continued, the audience was captivated, feeling the rhythm and excitement of the performance. The day was filled with laughter, music, and the joy of being together, creating lasting memories. Time passed as a bond formed between two brothers. Izuku Takanashi, the older sibling, revealed himself to Izuku, who was taken aback by the unexpected arrival. Nizu, the school's principal, expressed his surprise, while Aizawa, the teacher, nodded in agreement. The atmosphere was tense as they learned that Izuku was connected to Izuku through their father, Hisashi. Izuku made it clear that he did not regard Hisashi as a father, referring to him as a monster. Izumi, Izuku's sister, questioned why they had never known about Izuku. He explained that their father had killed their mother after discovering him, and while he shared a quirk similar to Izuku's, he could not combine quirks to create new ones. Nizu inquired about how Izuku had met Izuku, to which Izuku responded that those with all for one could sense each other. He had sensed Hisashi's quirk multiple times in New York City, which led him to discover Izuku and his half-sister. The group learned that Izuku was unaware of Izuku's existence, and Izuku had refused to meet him until now. Nizu mentioned that All for One had said those who used their quirks often went insane, to which Izuku agreed, but he had found a way to manage it. Aizawa pressed for details on how to stop the madness, emphasizing the need to help Izuku. Izuku explained that Izuku needed to figure things out on his own, as he was stubborn like him. Kyoka, another student, asked how Izuku had met Izuku. Izuku reminisced about their first encounter, recalling how he had approached Izuku after a conversation with their father. Izuku had been confused and shocked to see someone who looked like him, and Izuku had revealed their familial connection. As they shared their stories, they bonded over their experiences, laughing and finding common ground. Izuku recounted how he had been proud of Izuku for his achievements, especially his growing relationships. The brothers connected deeply, sharing laughter and understanding. 𝗍𝗂 then questioned why the authorities had not captured Hisashi, to which Izuku explained that they were aware of his identity. The Punisher, a vigilante, had made a deal with the United Nations to protect Izuku and his siblings, ensuring their safety in exchange for evidence against those responsible for his family's tragedy. Izuku learned that Frank, the Punisher, had cared for him like a father, and his death had left a significant impact on both Izuku and Izuku. They discussed the complexities of their family dynamics, with Izuku expressing understanding toward Izumi's past actions, recognizing her as a child who had made mistakes. As the conversation shifted, Izuku embraced Eri, Izuku's adopted daughter, who giggled and introduced herself as Daddy's princess. Izuku marveled at her cuteness, feeling a sense of warmth and connection to his newfound family. The bond between the brothers and their extended family continued to grow, filled with hope and understanding. Mirio explained that he would leave the situation to Izuku, who decided he needed to check on things. Inko asked if she could accompany him, along with the others from Class 1A, but Izuku declined, stating that he could only teleport himself and that their presence might hinder his brother's efforts. He mentioned that one member of the Sinister Six remained and had just eliminated Mysterio. The group was shocked by this news, and Izuku took his leave. 𝗍𝗂 then instructed everyone to take the rest of the night to rest or do as they pleased, while Inko expressed her concern for Izuku's safety. The next chapter began with Izuku waking up early, prompted by Kotaro's hunger. Not wanting to disturb his girlfriend, he got up to prepare breakfast for his son and family. As he sipped his coffee, he watched Kotaro enjoy scrambled eggs. Izuku's older brother, Izuku, arrived, and they exchanged greetings. Izuku was curious about Izuku's visit, especially since Kurumi had recently given 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗂𝗧. Izuku revealed that he had visited UA to discuss the deal with the United Nations, wanting to gauge their reaction. He noted that their family was worried about Izuku, which he could sense. Izuku introduced Kotaro to Izuku, who proudly acknowledged his new role as an uncle. They discussed the importance of controlling their powers, with Izuku reminding Izuku that he possessed one for all. Izuku was hesitant, recalling the toll it had taken on Izuku, but his brother reassured him that he would be fine. After a brief goodbye, Izuku left, and Izuku's girlfriend emerged, unaware of their conversation. As they settled down for breakfast, Gwen inquired about who had fed Kotaro. The playful banter among the group revealed their eagerness to care for the little one. Izuku suggested they spend the day at the zoo, and after some light-hearted disagreements over outfits, he dressed Kotaro in jeans, a white shirt, and a leather jacket, both looking cool together. They set off for the zoo, where Kotaro excitedly pointed out the giraffes. The pair delighted in making gorilla sounds at the exhibit, amusing the animals and surprising onlookers. At the aquarium, Izuku's charm attracted attention, but he politely declined the advances, reminding the staff of his commitment to his girlfriends, who watched with playful jealousy. Next, they visited the petting zoo, where Kotaro was surrounded by baby animals, prompting affectionate reactions from the group. Afterward, they enjoyed a meal at the cafeteria, where Gwen asked Izuku about revealing the truth of his survival to others. He acknowledged that it was time for the truth to come out, especially after the events that had unfolded. They discussed Tenko and Izuku's plans to visit him, emphasizing the importance of keeping their loved ones safe. As they wrapped up their meal, they decided to shop for clothes, with Kotaro wanting to stay close to his dad. In a moment of reflection, Izuku spoke with Yoichi about the risks of using their powers, acknowledging the challenges ahead. Nana reassured him that they would support him through any difficulties. After 2 hours of shopping, they returned home, where Eren and Miles awaited them. Eren revealed that they had located Dr. October's whereabouts but faced a new challenge. Anti-venom had taken over his body, complicating their mission to retrieve the ring. Izuku remained determined to find a solution. Miles stood in an abandoned warehouse near the Brooklyn Bridge. Izuku stated that he and Uncle Eren, along with Miles, were going after their target. Both agreed, while Gwen expressed her concern about being left behind. Izuku assured her that she needed to stay with Kotaro, and Rogue reluctantly agreed, asking them to come back home safely. Izuku promised he would, and Miles confirmed their plan to attack the next day. Izuku checked in on Miles, who replied that he was fine. Izuku offered his support, and Miles acknowledged it. They left, leaving the family to relax for the rest of the night. The next chapter began on a Sunday at UA. Izumi confronted Katsuki and Shoto, demanding to know what they planned to discuss with Castle. Shoto insisted it was none of her business, while Katsuki echoed the sentiment. Izumi was determined not to let them jeopardize Castle's place at UA due to their mistakes, threatening them if they harmed him. Shoto reassured her that their intentions were not malicious, they simply wanted to talk. Izumi pressed for details, and Katsuki explained it was a personal matter they needed to resolve. Shoto promised they wouldn't hurt Castle, and Izumi reluctantly agreed, warning them not to lay a hand on him. Meanwhile, Am shared some photos of Inko's mother with her. Inko admired the pictures, noting her mother's beauty, and Am remarked on the resemblance between mother and daughter. Inko blushed at the compliment. Gran Torino joined the conversation, and Inko asked if he had any romantic feelings for her mother. He clarified that he viewed her more like a sister. Inko reflected on the loss of her mother but acknowledged the good that came from her relationship with Izuku and Izumi. They decided it was time to return to the auditorium. Upon their return, they found everyone engaged in conversation. Eri asked Mirio if her father was coming home soon, to which he replied he hoped so. Nijire reassured Eri that he would return with her mothers. Koda joked about avoiding being dressed in sailor outfits, and Tiger reminded him they would find him regardless. Izumi recalled how their mother used to dress Izuku, and Nizu announced that only a few songs remained, prompting everyone to continue. Eri excitedly chose a song, and Denki warned that if it was inappropriate, they would face the consequences from Midoriya. Mirio offered to help her, and Eri selected Fireflies. As the song played, it brought back memories of Izuku teaching Eri how to play. She celebrated her accomplishment, and Izuku praised her. The music filled the room, creating a warm atmosphere as Eri enjoyed the moment with her father. As the song concluded, Eri yawned, and Izuku suggested it was time for bed. Eri agreed, and Mirio complimented the song, to which Eri proudly stated it was her father's work. Nizu then called upon Kuji Koda, who shyly chose a song and handed it to Ida. Ida announced that Koda had selected That's What I Like, and the music began, showcasing Izuku's presence in a lively manner. Izuku felt exhilarated as he watched his friends dance. Frank and Miles commented on how their dancing lessons were paying off, and Mina eagerly anticipated asking one of the dancers to join her when he returned home. Eri beamed with pride, recalling how her father always danced with her, especially during their memorable trip to Disneyland. Mirio reminisced about the time Nizu had given them tickets, and how Eri had dressed up as Snow White while Izuku and he played the princess. Eri proudly noted how her father had focused on her during the dance, despite the attention he received from others. Nizu announced it was time for the next performer and selected Hiryu Rin. Rin approached the remaining songs, finally choosing one titled, Or Na, which he warned was not suitable for children. Eri suggested watching Batman, and Koda agreed. As the music began, the focus shifted to Izuku, who stood confidently in front of the microphone. The song's lyrics hinted at playful and suggestive themes, making the atmosphere lively. The 𝗧𝗵𝗲 members exchanged glances, feeling a mix of embarrassment and excitement. They couldn't help but blush at the boldness of the performance. Inko, watching from the sidelines, expressed disbelief at Izuku's choice of songs, while others speculated about the influence of his upbringing. Aizawa acknowledged the possibility, and Kyoko warned Mineta to stay away from Izuku, threatening him with a humorous fate if he tried to corrupt him. As the next performer, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 stepped up and chose a song called Trumpets, which featured his brother Miles. The music played, and the scene shifted back to Miles in the studio, creating a vibrant and energetic atmosphere that resonated with everyone present. Miles expressed his readiness, and Izuku encouraged him to proceed. As music began to play, the atmosphere shifted. Izuku prepared himself, but was momentarily halted by Kotaro, who called out to him. Kotaro asked his father to be safe, and Izuku reassured him, urging him to stay with his mothers. They left the apartment, where Izuku handed Kotaro to MJ, who promised to take care of him. With Eren and Miles ready, they departed for their destination, and Izuku found himself once again in a mental space, facing two orbs. Nana appeared, questioning his intentions. Yuichi expressed concern about the consequences of combining their quirks, while Banjo warned him of the implications. Izuku acknowledged the risks but felt compelled to proceed, despite their hopes that such a day would never come. Arriving at their destination, they landed on the rooftops. Izuku sensed something was amiss when tentacles suddenly emerged, pulling them into a warehouse and slamming them to the ground. Anti-Venom revealed himself, and Izuku confronted him about Octavius's fate. Anti-Venom admitted to his actions, claiming he sought chaos and power from Kingpin. Determined, Izuku launched himself at Anti-Venom, landing a punch. However, Anti-Venom retaliated, grabbing Izuku and slamming him down. Miles attempted to assist with his web shooters, while Eren fought against Anti-Venom's regenerating tentacles. Anti-Venom boasted of his strength, and Eren vowed revenge for his brother, the Punisher. In a moment of desperation, Izuku executed a German suplex on Anti-Venom, but the villain countered, mocking Izuku's inability to save his friend. With a powerful throw, Anti-Venom sent Izuku crashing into a wall, leaving him momentarily incapacitated. Meanwhile, Izuku found himself back in the dream world, standing before the two orbs. He resolved to grow stronger, and Frank, his father, urged him to embrace the challenge despite the risks. Izuku understood that he might lose his humanity, but his spirit would remain intact. He steeled himself for the pain that awaited. As the two powers merged within him, Izuku screamed, overwhelmed by the intensity of the transformation. He envisioned moments with his friends and family, drawing strength from their smiles and support. With a final cry, he emerged from the ordeal, feeling renewed and powerful. Back in the physical world, Izuku, now transformed, felt an incredible surge of strength. Frank encouraged him to check his reflection, and Izuku was astonished by the brightness of his eyes, a sign of his newfound power. With determination, he prepared to confront Anti-Venom. As Eren and Miles struggled against Anti-Venom's grip, Izuku arrived just in time, delivering a powerful kick that freed them. Gasping for air, they regrouped as Izuku charged at Anti-Venom, dodging his attacks and preparing for the next move. Izuku's outer body might have been strong, but the body of his host was lifeless. He unleashed his decay, causing Octavius's form to dissolve and revert to a gooey substance. Izuku quickly grabbed a jar and contained it. Spotting a ring, he picked it up and removed his mask, declaring it the last one. Miles called out to Izuku, who acknowledged him. Eren then asked what had happened, and Izuku replied that he would explain later. They needed to leave. He put his mask back on, and they headed back to the apartment, where everyone was waiting. Emma greeted Izuku, who took off his mask. Gwen asked what had occurred, and Izuku explained that he had been told the only way to stop the madness was to combine both his all-for-one and one-for-all powers into one. He had succeeded, which was why his eyes looked different. Izuku noted that he could turn them off if needed. Miles complimented his new look, while Shuri advised him not to encourage it. Storm inquired about what else had changed, and Izuku revealed that he was no longer considered human, but his soul and spirit remained human, which was what truly mattered. Emma hugged him, calling him an idiot, and Izuku thanked her, mentioning that he now possessed all 6 rings. Miles suggested they figure out how to use the rings, and Eren said he would see what he could do. Izuku then told Emma he was going to take a nap, as using his new form was tiring. Emma used her telekinesis to help him to bed, where Kotaro climbed on top of him and fell asleep as well. Gwen proposed that the girls join them, and they all huddled against Izuku for a nap. Meanwhile, Eren examined the rings, trying to figure something out. Later, at UA, Momo asked Izumi what she would do when Mop had returned. Izumi admitted she was unsure and worried about Katsuki and Shoto's reactions. Mina pointed out that Midori usually handled them when they annoyed him, but Izumi feared he might go too far. Ochako doubted he would harm them in front of Eri or Koda, which Izumi conceded was true. They noticed Lady Nagant entering, prompting them to rush to the auditorium, where Inko greeted her. Nizu welcomed Lady Nagant back, thanking her for her return. Inko asked if Izuku was happy, to which Lady 𝗵𝗃𝗃 confirmed he was very happy, especially after adopting a child during his fight with 𝗲𝗪𝗀. The group was surprised to learn that Izuku had a new sibling named 𝗪𝗀𝗀, a toddler whose parents had been killed by 𝗲𝗪𝗀, who intended to sell him. Izuku had become furious, and while he didn't kill 𝗲𝗪𝗀 himself, his brother did. The girls cooed over a picture of 𝗪𝗪𝗀, and Midnight expressed a longing to pinch his cheeks. Nizu considered making his room bigger, and AM offered to pay 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗀 for the work. Inko wanted to buy him cute clothes, while Koda insisted that sailor outfits were out of the question due to his nightmares. Inko wondered what 𝗲𝗪𝗀 was experiencing at that moment, and AM suggested he was being tortured by Frank Castle. Meanwhile, in a dark place, Frank had 𝗲𝗪𝗀 chained up and upside down. 𝗲𝗪𝗀 pleaded for mercy, but Frank was unyielding, submerging him in a tank filled with piranhas that began to nibble at him as he regenerated. Back at UA, Nizu invited Lady 𝗵𝗃𝗃 to join them, and she agreed. He announced that they would listen to 4 more songs that day. The next performer, 𝗬𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃, approached the disc and selected a song he liked. When asked the title, he revealed it was called Smile for Me. As the music played, Izuku emerged wearing makeup, catching Nizu's attention. Nizu questioned why Izuku would dress up as a notorious figure from the past known for his ruthless killings. Izumi wondered about Izuku's choice, and Nizu explained the history of the character he was emulating, noting the high number of his victims. Miles expressed concern about Izuku's intentions, to which Izuku replied that he needed to understand the mind of another monster to comprehend his own identity. As the music began, Izuku welcomed everyone to his mind, describing it as a carnival of madness. He conveyed a sense of urgency, urging them to smile for him. The lyrics reflected his inner turmoil, revealing a blend of insanity and despair. As the song concluded, Izuku wore a sad smile, prompting concern among his friends about what was truly happening in his mind. They yearned to understand his thoughts and whether they could bear the weight of his burdens. Nizu admitted that both All for One and Izuku were even more terrifying than the infamous figure he had referenced. Aizawa offered to take over, and the next performer stepped up to choose a song, continuing the atmosphere of camaraderie and music. Music starts with young Izuku and Miles Morales expressing their motivations and aspirations. They talk about the challenges they face, emphasizing their determination and the importance of their friendships. They reflect on their lives, acknowledging the risks they take and the loyalty they share with their close companions. Izuku reveals that he never fears death or failure, only the regret of not trying. He believes that this moment belongs to them, and they should seize it without hesitation. Miles echoes this sentiment, feeling empowered and ready to embrace the day ahead. As they prepare for an important event, they acknowledge their growth and the journey they've taken together. They reminisce about their past struggles and the bonds they've formed, promising to support each other no matter the circumstances. The atmosphere is filled with excitement as they celebrate their achievements and the friendships that have helped them along the way. Eri expresses her admiration for her cool uncles, while the others share their gratitude for Miles, who played a crucial role in bringing everyone together. Aizawa announces that they have 2 more songs before the day ends, and Lady 𝗵𝗃𝗃 steps up to choose a song. She finds one that resonates with her and prepares to perform, creating a moment of anticipation as they gather in front of an empty theater, ready to showcase their talents. Music starts as Izuku reflects on his feelings. He acknowledges that being with someone he loves brings him hope and joy. He feels a deep connection, realizing that without this person he would feel lost and empty. The warmth of their embrace makes him feel alive, and he expresses his love, knowing that their bond is something special. Izuku understands that there is nothing to change or pretend. He has fallen in love. He treasures this person, who is his light each morning. He worries about what would happen if they were apart, feeling a chill in his heart at the thought. As the music fades, Izuku speaks to his father, acknowledging his love for his mother and reassuring him that she is doing well. He finds it amusing that his mother had feelings for his father too. Kyoko wonders when Izuku learned to sing in Spanish, while Denki mentions that he practiced. Eri shares that her father is teaching her and Koda Spanish. Aizawa suggests they continue their discussion tomorrow, and everyone agrees, heading off to their own activities. In the next chapter, Titled 𝗵𝗃 Part 1. The scene shifts to a Tuesday morning. Izuku stands in front of the mirror, admiring his reflection. His friends compliment his unique hairstyle, which enhances his appeal. They discuss recent events, including a confrontation with a villain named 𝗬𝗬𝗄, and the potential threat posed by Wolverine's reaction. As they prepare for their hero duties, they find Miles eating breakfast and toss him their plates. The group discusses their next steps in locating 𝗵𝗃, realizing that the rings they possess hold clues to his whereabouts. Izuku expresses his longing for a direct approach, insisting that he can handle the situation without outside help. Miles and Izuku examine the rings, discovering numbers that lead them to a shocking location. Izuku's anger rises as he reveals that it is the place where his father was killed. The group gasps in disbelief at the revelation, and Izuku quickly finishes his breakfast, determined to confront the past. They make their way to an abandoned hospital, where Izuku recalls a painful memory from his past. In a flashback, he and his team, at the age of 16, confront a villain named Scorpion. After a fierce battle, they defeat him, but not without the weight of their actions lingering in their minds. Izuku remembers the moment he found his father, the Punisher, lying on the ground. The pain of that memory fuels his determination as he prepares to face 𝗵𝗃 and uncover the truth. Izuku called out to his father, shaking him gently, but there was no response. Panic set in as he checked for a pulse, and tears streamed down his face as he embraced the man who had given him a second chance at life. The memory of their last moments together lingered painfully in his heart. Arrived at the hospital, only to find a group of villains gathered outside. Gwen suggested they take action, but Izuku, filled with determination, leaped into action, charging at the villains with fierce resolve. He fought valiantly, and soon his teammates joined him in the battle. Miles urged Superior Spider-Man to focus on the main threat while they handled the rest. With a powerful jump, Izuku soared through a window, racing toward the place where his father had fallen. Memories flooded back as he scanned the area, noticing a hidden wall. Using his strength, he broke through to reveal a metal elevator door. He forced it open and descended, making his way through the dimly lit corridor. Izuku called out for 𝗵𝗃, his voice echoing with anger. He began to wreak havoc in the surroundings, fueled by his longing for justice. Suddenly, 𝗬𝗪𝗧𝗵𝗲 appeared, declaring that this would be the end for Superior Spider-Man. But before he could finish, Izuku swiftly incapacitated him, moving on to search for 𝗵𝗃. Finally, he kicked open the last door, revealing 𝗵𝗃 seated inside. The villain welcomed him with a taunt, but Izuku was ready for the confrontation. When 𝗵𝗃 hurled a desk at him, Izuku shattered it with a punch. The fight escalated as 𝗵𝗃 charged, slamming Izuku against the wall, and a symbiote began to form around him. Riot, the symbiote, joined the fray, and 𝗵𝗃 declared their intent to eliminate Izuku. Undeterred, Izuku cracked his neck and taunted them to bring it on. He dodged 𝗵𝗃's attacks, using his webbing to pull the villain closer and delivering a powerful kick that sent him crashing to the ground. The battle raged on, with Izuku's suit becoming tattered from the relentless blows. 𝗵𝗃 threatened him, but Izuku was resolute. He summoned his guitar, creating a resonating sound that caused Riot to scream in agony. With a swift kick, he sent 𝗵𝗃 soaring into the hospital lobby. Determined to finish this, Izuku confronted 𝗵𝗃, vowing to make him pay for the pain he had caused. 𝗵𝗃 revealed that All for One had sent him, but Izuku was focused on his current opponent. He transformed his weapon into a scythe, striking 𝗵𝗃 with electrifying force. Using Momo's quirk, he created metal pipes and struck them together, amplifying the sound and further tormenting Riot. Izuku encircled 𝗵𝗃 with pipes, striking them to keep the pressure on. Finally, he pulled 𝗵𝗃 from Riot and created a grenade, throwing it with fierce determination, eliminating the threat. As 𝗵𝗃 crawled away, Izuku grabbed him and slammed him against the wall, advancing with purpose. He had waited for this moment for 3 long years, and he was ready to deliver justice. With a final, decisive move, he used his spider legs to strike, ensuring that 𝗵𝗃 would no longer harm anyone. Afterward, Izuku walked away, finding his friends waiting for him outside. They expressed their concern, and he reassured them he was all right. When asked about Kingpin, he simply stated that the villain was no longer a threat. Overwhelmed with emotion, Izuku dropped to his knees, finally able to release the pain of losing his father. As they prepared to leave, excitement filled the air about returning home. Plans were made to meet Eri, and the group shared light-hearted banter about spoiling her. Just then, Izuku emerged from a portal, asking Izuku how it felt to have achieved his revenge. With a satisfied smile, Izuku replied that it felt pretty good. They all returned home, the sound of sirens fading in the distance. Izuku felt a sense of relief wash over him as they moved forward together. The next chapter would explore their time at UA, where they took a break from the music and engaged in conversations. Eri and Koda were busy practicing for their little brother, while Mirio reassured Eri that their grandpa would be proud of them. Meanwhile, in another realm, Frank Castle stood at the gates of Hell, waiting for Overhaul and Muscular to arrive. He had plans for them, seeking justice for his grandchildren. Back with Inko and her companions, they discussed her long-lost brother, revealing a painful history and a determination to help him. Inko vowed to do everything in her power to save her nephew, igniting a spirit of hope and resilience among them all. Inko wondered if Izuku had known from the beginning that Shiragaki was Tenko. GT speculated that given AFO's narcissistic nature, he would likely reveal the truth. AM mentioned that Izuku had interacted with Shiragaki during their confrontation at the USJ, which had elicited a strong reaction from him. Shiragaki had nearly harmed Izuku during a mall incident before heading to I-Island. Inko expressed surprise that she had not heard about this before. AM explained that Izuku had asked him to keep it a secret. GT chastised AM for not sharing this information sooner, to which AM replied that he wanted to maintain Izuku's trust. Inko inquired if Izuku had been hurt, and AM reassured her that he was fine, albeit quite angry. Inko pondered what Izuku would do about his cousin, and AM confidently stated that he would save him. Meanwhile, Izumi and her two friends discussed their feelings about Izuku. Izumi asked Katsumi and Shoka if their brothers had shared any information about their upcoming conversation with Castle. Shoka replied that her father had been trying to communicate with him but had not succeeded. Katsumi added that her mother had attempted to get through to him as well, but he insisted on keeping his thoughts private. She expressed her distrust, fearing that he might harm Izuku. Izumi recalled how Shiragaki had tried to attack Castle before but had always been thwarted. Katsumi suggested they keep a close watch on the situation, worried that if things escalated, Izuku might get hurt. Shoka agreed, and Izumi reminded them that if they wanted to regain Izuku's forgiveness and love, they needed to stop using derogatory names and refer to him as Castle instead. Katsumi hesitated but acknowledged the truth in Izumi's words. They all felt a wave of sadness, realizing that their past actions had damaged their chances of being with Izuku. They understood that they could never truly be with him after breaking his spirit repeatedly. Izumi affirmed their commitment to Castle, and both friends agreed that while it might hurt, their priority was Izuku's happiness. The group spent the rest of the day relaxing and enjoying each other's company. Inko listened to stories about her mother from GG, reminiscing about her youth. Eri and Koda were learning how to care for a toddler under Mandalay's guidance. Koda expressed his longing to grow stronger as the eldest, while Eri emphasized their responsibility to protect their younger siblings. This made the 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗃 blush, as they imagined having children with Izuku. Inko received a phone call and answered. Hisashi's voice came through, and he asked to be put on speaker. He revealed that Izuku had killed Dr. Octavius, also known as Anti-Venom, and that this meant he now possessed the 6 rings. Hisashi laughed sinisterly, claiming that Izuku would soon join the dark side and become his successor alongside his cousin. Inko was furious, calling him a bastard, but Hisashi taunted her, saying that no one could stop what was coming. He claimed that Izuku had taken many lives and questioned whether they would still stand by him after all he had done. The group was taken aback by the revelation of the number of lives lost. Hisashi continued, suggesting that Izuku was filled with guilt and anger, and he challenged them to consider if they were willing to support him despite his dark path. They all affirmed their loyalty to Izuku. Hisashi ended the call, leaving Inko and the others in silence, reflecting on Izuku's smiling face, the one they had all fallen in love with. 𝗬𝗧𝗄 confidently stated that her father would not become a monster, recalling his promise to her. 𝗎𝗎𝗎 agreed, reinforcing 𝗬𝗧𝗄's belief. The next morning, everyone gathered in the auditorium, anxious about Izuku's fate after his confrontation with the sinister six. Nizu acknowledged their worries but suggested they listen to music to distract themselves. The group agreed, and Nizu announced that with only 5 songs left, he would choose 𝗂𝗧𝗵𝗲 to pick the next one. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 selected a song called 𝗎𝗪𝗎, featuring Miles and a girl named Shuri. The staff recognized Shuri as the younger sister of King T'Challa of Wakanda, which surprised everyone. 𝗬𝗧𝗄's eyes sparkled with excitement at the mention of a princess. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 played the song, showing Miles and Shuri in the booth while Izuku waited outside. Miles informed Izuku that they were ready, and Shuri agreed with a nod. Izuku responded affirmatively as music began to play. Shuri sang a catchy tune about sweet lips and the allure of candy, expressing how irresistible it was. Miles chimed in, playfully mentioning his sweet tooth and how he found Shuri's kisses delightful. He described the excitement of their connection, comparing it to a sugar rush that made his heart race. Shuri continued to sing about her sweet nature, and Miles echoed her sentiments, emphasizing how much he enjoyed their playful banter. They both shared a light-hearted moment, reveling in the sweetness of their relationship. As the music ended, Izuku remarked on how great it was, and Miles agreed enthusiastically. Shuri playfully asked if her kisses tasted like candy, to which Miles confirmed with a smile. Kirishima then questioned how many people Midoriya knew, and Denki speculated that it was a lot. Kyoka commented on Shuri's beauty, while Nizu acknowledged her intelligence, humorously recalling a warning from her father. Nizu then called on Shota to choose the next song. Shota selected one that Miles had sung, titled Trading Places, noting it wasn't suitable for 𝗬𝗧𝗄 or Kota. 𝗬𝗧𝗄 and Kota expressed their longing to hear it, but Mandalay intervened. Eventually, they donned noise-canceling headphones to listen to the song while watching Izuku and Miles. Miles introduced the song, explaining it was about a woman taking charge in a relationship. Izuku was eager to hear it as the music started. The song described a playful role reversal in a relationship, with the woman taking the lead in a fun and engaging way. It painted a picture of shared experiences, laughter, and the excitement of trying something new together. Miles envisioned waking up to a cozy morning with breakfast in bed, highlighting the joy of caring for one another in a light-hearted manner. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and camaraderie as they enjoyed the music and each other's company. Let me get that tray. Pull the curtain from the window. Time to get up. Let me make this bed. Today they were going shopping, spending 30 on him, but he suggested they make it 60, spending it like they really loved each other. They decided to skip dinner and rent a movie instead. She ordered Chinese food right before they settled in. She came on strong, and he said he needed to wash his hands. She urged him to hurry up and get to bed. He took his place on the bottom tonight, as they were trading places. When he couldn't take it anymore, she assured him she wasn't stopping. They were switching roles, and he was ready for whatever came next. In the midst of their playful banter, they were busy with chores. He washed the car while she walked the dog and took out the trash, all while wearing nothing but a t-shirt. He pressed her shirt, wrinkling his own in the process. They were in the kitchen, having fun and not caring about anything else. He thought about how they were trading places, and he was excited for the night ahead. Miles asked what everyone thought of the song, and Izuku said it was nice. Denki agreed, noting that the guy always had to take his girlfriend out, and they wanted to be treated too. Before he could finish, 𝗎𝗲𝗎 kissed Denki, surprising everyone. 𝗎𝗲𝗎 claimed Denki as hers, and the group reacted with shock. Nizu suggested they continue, and Shishida stepped up for his turn, choosing a song called Roll Up. As the music started, the lyrics spoke of being there for someone whenever they called, no matter the circumstances. It was about being a best friend and not caring what others thought. The singer promised to be there whenever needed, ready to roll up and support. After the song, Miles commented on how dope it was, and Izuku agreed. They decided to get something to eat. Just then, a portal appeared, and Izuku stepped out. Everyone greeted him with excitement. Izuku announced that Izuku had defeated Kingpin and was feeling emotional after avenging his father. He would be back tomorrow, and they should be ready for him. They all agreed they would be ready. Izuku left to check on Izuku, while everyone else began to think about what they would say when he returned home. The chapter concluded, and the next one promised a reunion, followed by a conversation with AFO, then a showdown between Izuku and Shirogaki, leading to the aftermath and finally an epilogue. Izuku asked if everyone was ready, and the group confirmed they were. He picked up Kotaro, ready to introduce him to his big brother and sister, while MJ expressed excitement about meeting their daughter and son. Gwen acknowledged the situation, and Felicia agreed it would be good. Rogue expressed her confidence, while Miles confirmed they were ready. Emma and Izuku joined in, with Izuku asking if everyone was prepared. The group responded affirmatively, and Izuku created a portal. They all stepped inside, with Izuku being the last to enter before it closed. Back in Japan, the members of Class 1A were relaxing, waiting for Izuku's return without knowing when he would arrive. Eri and Kotaro were particularly eager for his return. Eri wondered when her father would come back, and Kotaro echoed her sentiment. Mirio reminded them to be patient. Suddenly, a portal opened, and Gwen was the first to step through, followed by MJ, Felicia, Rogue, Emma, and Miles, who greeted each other warmly. Izuku emerged from the portal, noticeably changed. His right pupil was blue, and his left was green. Half of his hair was white, and the other half remained its original color. Scars marked his right eye. Eri and Kotaro rushed to him, and he lifted them both into his arms, smiling as he greeted them. Eri expressed her frustration about his absence, while Koto reassured him it was okay. Kotaro introduced himself, and Eri welcomed him as his big sister. The trio shared a hug, and Izuku beamed at their growing bond. Inko approached Izuku, commenting on his appearance. He dismissed her compliment, but she insisted he looked handsome. Nizu inquired about Izuku's well-being, and Izuku confirmed he was managing his powers. All Might confirmed that the others were aware of One for All. Izuku explained that his brother had shared a method to control his power, which involved combining his AFO2, 0 and 1 for all into a single quirk. Aizawa reminded him that he had to sacrifice something for this power. Izuku admitted he had given up his humanity, shocking everyone, especially Izumi, who began to cry. She apologized, feeling responsible for his decision, but Izuku reassured her it was not her fault. Aizawa informed Izuku that they were aware of the mistreatment he had endured from his twin sister and her friends. He urged Izuku not to expel them. Ochako questioned why he remained kind towards them despite their actions. Emma explained that she and Frank had raised him to not let personal feelings hinder others' dreams. Izuku acknowledged this, and Eri complimented Emma, who graciously accepted. Momo mentioned they had heard Izuku's songs about them, and he suggested they speak to his girlfriends about it. Just then, Shoto and Katsuki approached, kneeling before Izuku. They expressed their longing for a chance for Shoka and Katsumi to re-enter his life, acknowledging the pain they had caused him. They offered to give up their quirks to prove their sincerity. Izuku questioned their motives, suggesting he could easily harm them if he wished. Katsumi pleaded with him, stating they had decided not to interfere in his life any longer. Shoka insisted they understood their wrongs and were willing to transfer schools to ensure his happiness. Izumi supported their claim, and Izuku considered their proposal. Inko expressed her willingness to do anything to be part of his life again. All Might advised Izuku not to repeat the mistakes of hating his parents. Izuku agreed to give them one chance to rebuild their relationship, which elicited gratitude from Inko. Suddenly, Izuku sensed a presence, revealing that All for One was communicating with him through his quirk. Eri admired Miles, calling him cool, to which he responded with appreciation. Just then, Deadpool appeared, dancing and claiming he had presents for his nephews and niece. Izuku introduced Eri to Deadpool, who was a friend of his. Deadpool raised an 𝗧𝗵𝗲 flag, causing Momo to blush. Deadpool presented gifts, starting with a Stitch plush for Eri, who hugged it tightly. He explained that Stitch was there to protect her. Then he revealed a playful Toothless for Koda, who was tackled by the dragon and laughed as it liked his face. Finally, he introduced a cuddly bear named Blurian for Kotaro, who smiled and snuggled with it, enjoying the moment. Nizu asked what Izuku would do next. Izuku wondered if he still had a place there, and everyone assured him that he did. He decided they would be staying. Miles expressed his regret, stating that Spider-Man was needed in New York City. Izuku told him it was okay and to stay safe, reminding him that he could always call for help if needed. Miles said goodbye to his niece and 2 nephews before stepping back through the portal Izuku had created for him. Izuku felt he would miss him. Eri called out to her father, asking if she and her mommies could have a daddy and daughter day. Izuku asked what they would do, and Eri excitedly listed getting their nails done, doing makeup and shopping for clothes. Izuku inquired about who would pay for it, and Eri cheekily suggested he could use the credit card. Koda and Kotaro, realizing they might be dragged into this, ran away. Izuku handed Eri the card but insisted there would be no makeup involved. Stitch would accompany her, and Gwen and MJ promised to help Eri pick out cute clothes. Eri cheered in delight as they left, while Kotaro and Koda remained hidden. Izuku approached Nizu, asking if he could go to Tartarus. Nizu confirmed he would be joining them. Inko insisted on accompanying him, and AM agreed, stating he couldn't go alone. Izumi pleaded with her brother, and Izuku agreed they could all go. Emma also decided to join, and Izuku asked Mirio to keep an eye on Kotaro and Koda, who had also been drawn into the situation. Izuku encouraged his sons to stay strong as they left to confront All for One and end things once and for all. They arrived in front of the prison, where Izuku greeted Japan's hero commissioner. The commissioner acknowledged Izuku as Superior Spider-Man, and Izuku asked what he owed the pleasure of the meeting. The commissioner clarified that he had been instructed to let Izuku do as he pleased. Izuku, feeling bold, expressed that if he wanted to cause chaos, he would do so without hesitation. As they entered, was surprised to see someone silence the commissioner. They passed through security scans, and Izuku feigned ignorance about the machine, which annoyed the commissioner. They walked through the jail cells and noticed 3 females who suddenly collapsed to the ground. AM questioned what was happening, and Izuku explained that they were asleep. Izumi wondered why orbs were entering Izuku, and he clarified that he was taking their quirks to prevent any damage. They reached All for One's cell, and Izuku stood before his father, remarking that being caged like an animal suited him. All for One questioned what had happened, and Izuku explained that he had found a way to cancel the quirks. All for One was curious about how he had done it, and Izuku revealed it was through One for All. Izuka, who was also present, acknowledged that he had noticed Izuku's frequent trips to New York City and explained that combining their quirks would stop the process. Izuku confronted All for One about controlling Tenko and 𝗬𝗎 with his mind control quirk. All for One dismissed it, but Izuku touched his face, declaring that it was time to say goodbye. Izuka added that this was where All for One would meet his end, alone with his plans ruined. All for One threatened to escape and seek revenge, but Izuku was confident that the UN president was taking him to 𝙎♪𝙢𝙢𝙢, the most secure prison in the world, ensuring he would never get out. Inko expressed that while All for One had used her to get to her children, they were blessings, not curses, and they would choose their own paths in life. Izumi asserted that All for One was not her father, as her true father was Toshinori Yagi, and Izuku's father was Frank Castle. Izuku affirmed this, and AM expressed gratitude to his children. Izuku then declared it was time to say goodbye, and they left All for One behind, who was left screaming in frustration. Izuku approached 2 more cells, where Muscular and Overhaul awaited. Muscular taunted him, while Overhaul demanded his cure back. Izuku, determined, used his black whatif to incapacitate Muscular and then turned to Overhaul, grabbing him by the neck. Overhaul accused him of being a coward for wanting to kill him quickly, but Izuku retorted that he had no intention of torturing him. He swiftly ended Overhaul's life, feeling a sense of satisfaction afterward. AM inquired about 𝗬𝗎, and Izuku explained that 𝗬𝗎 was 𝗎𝗪𝗎, a friend of Aizawa who had died, and now he was free from All for One's control. He believed he could restore 𝗬𝗎 to his human self with proximity. Meanwhile, in the afterlife, Overhaul and Muscular found themselves confronted by Frank Castle, who was waiting for them. They were filled with dread as Frank revealed that Izuku was his adopted son, making Eri and Koda his grandchildren. He warned them to prepare for true pain. Both villains attempted to flee but were captured and dragged to Frank's domain. Back in the living world, 𝗵𝗃 and Izuku conversed as 𝗵𝗃𝗃 approached 𝗵𝗃. She expressed her gratitude for being there for Izuku when she had failed him. 𝗵𝗃 reassured her that she wanted to be a mother to him. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 acknowledged that she would not hesitate to protect him if needed, and 𝗵𝗃 agreed, knowing the stakes. Izuku suggested they head back home, and everyone agreed. Just before they left, Izuku was approached by 𝗧𝗵𝗲, who acknowledged that Izuku was different from other heroes but still a hero nonetheless. Izuku thanked him, and 𝗧𝗵𝗲 reiterated that only he and All Might were permitted to end his life. Izuku affirmed that he would not kill those with a purpose in life, vowing to ensure that true heroes would always be present. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 felt satisfied as they left the prison. Izuku was walking toward the exit when he was confronted by the 𝗧𝗃, who threatened him, vowing that one day he would ensure Izuku remained imprisoned. Izuku responded by saying that if he went down, the 𝗧𝗃 would go down with him, especially considering what he had done to Lady Nagant. The 𝗧𝗃 was furious, but Izuku remained unfazed, declaring that the 𝗧𝗃 couldn't do anything to him. They left, the 𝗧𝗃 fuming with anger, while 𝗵𝗃 laughed at how Izuku had handled the situation. Upon arriving at school, they saw everyone enjoying themselves. 𝗳𝗏 and 𝗳𝗪𝗏 ran toward Izuku, calling out to him. When Izuku asked what was wrong, 𝗳𝗏 mentioned that Gwen had matching sailor outfits. Izuku immediately grabbed both of his sons and ran away, determined not to let them go through that ordeal. 𝗳𝗪𝗏 urged his father to run as they fled, with Gwen, MJ, Felicia, and Rogue chasing after them, holding the sailor outfits. Eri wondered why they disliked the outfits, as they looked cute, but 𝗵𝗃 explained that it was different for boys. 𝗵𝗃 expressed her longing to dress them up, and 𝗵𝗃𝗃 agreed, while 𝗵𝗃 cautioned 𝗵𝗃 not to proceed with her plans. 2 months had passed since Izuku's return, and many things had changed. He had saved Tenko with the help of GT and 𝗵𝗃, ensuring he received the assistance he needed. Kurohige had returned to being Oboro, bringing joy to his friends. Aizawa was happy, having accidentally agreed to marry 𝗵𝗃, and that wedding was on the horizon. Izuku's relationship with his mother and sister was progressing steadily. Although he still harbored some mistrust, he refrained from taking out his frustrations on Shoto or Katsuki. He had successfully taken down the 𝗧𝗃 for corruption and helped appoint Lady Nagant as the hero commissioner. Outside, Izuku stood in front of 𝗳𝗏, who was asking him something important. 𝗳𝗏 expressed his longing to train with Izuku, just as his grandfather had trained him. Izuku questioned his son's motivations, and 𝗳𝗏 explained that as the oldest of his siblings, he felt responsible for protecting them. Izuku hesitated but ultimately agreed, though he warned 𝗳𝗏 that the training would be different from what he had experienced. 𝗳𝗏 insisted they wouldn't tell their mothers, but Izuku knew they would find out. Just then, Gwen and the others revealed they had overheard the conversation, leading Izuku to assure them that 𝗳𝗏 would train, but it would be simple for now. Meanwhile, Eri was learning from Stitch how to use his alien guns, which accidentally resulted in Mineta losing some of his hair. 𝗳𝗏 was peacefully sleeping next to Blurrin. Izuku returned to the dorms with his 4 girlfriends, where he found the HRM waiting for him. Mirko informed him that they had spoken to his girlfriends, who accepted their relationship. Momo asked if he would be their boyfriend, and Izuku agreed, bringing joy to the group as they took turns expressing their affection for him. That night, Izuku found himself on the rooftop of the dorms, gazing at the sky. He reflected on his father's legacy, expressing gratitude for the life he had built and the wonderful people around him. He felt proud to be his father's son, even for a brief time, and asked for his father's watchful presence. Suddenly, he felt a comforting hand on his shoulder and saw Frank's spirit, who encouraged him to follow his heart. Izuku smiled, feeling a sense of peace as Frank's spirit faded away, and he turned to see his family waiting for him. He reassured them that he was simply enjoying the fresh air and not engaging in anything inappropriate. Eri asked if they could watch a movie, and Izuku happily agreed, joining them as he felt complete. 10 years later, Izuku stood in front of his father's gravestone in NYC, ready to introduce his children. As a group of kids approached, he proudly announced that they were his grandchildren. He explained to them that their grandpa was the man who had saved his life, emphasizing the importance of Frank's legacy. The children listened attentively, and Izuku encouraged them to leave flowers before they left to meet their Uncle Miles. As they walked away, Izuku glanced back and saw Frank smiling at him, which made him smile in return. It was time for him to continue living his life, honoring his father's memory. Izuku had once been an outcast, but he had transformed into a stronger person and a hero, embodying the spirit of the superior Spider-Man.